quick introductions. My name is Proof. I'm joined here on the casting desk with TDS, man, myth,
Yo.
legend himself. How are you feeling today, man? We got interesting games.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting series. We have T1 versus TNT. T1, not the Korean one, but another one that may be just as good. And TNT, like the Dynamite, can surprise us with their picks. So it should be really interesting to see what they bring out. I've seen a couple of their OPGGs already, and it seems that some of the members have practiced some champions that we don't typically see, like Amumu. So I'm excited to see if they do bring it out or try really new and interesting picks, especially with the new patch that came out yesterday. I'm really excited to see what they want to play around with.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things to look out for here in terms of even junglers, right? Usually that's
Yeah.
where I want to have kind of to see how the teams are going to perform just based on what junglers they pick. And there's a lot of choices, right, for this patch. What would be the priority here, let's say, if you're to play on the blue side?
Based on what I've seen recently, there has been a rise in terms of priority for 80 carries, particularly Ezreal. In the blue side, a lot of teams have put the Ezreal on their favorite list.
Favorites, yep.
Picking it even as a number one. So I think that a lot of teams have been thinking that 80 carry wise, if you get a strong 80 carry or something that can survive by his own in the first rotation, you can then draft much more accordingly. And I think this has to do with the fact that a lot of the S tier junglers that we previously saw, like the most imponent and consistently played champions like the Xinjiao, like the Viego, like the Diana, were consistently nerfed. And that means that now the priority from them kind of fall down in comparison to where they were previously, even though I still think they are junglers that are still viable and you can still play them. Their priority no longer is so high because there's other good options that you can go in the jungle and you can pick them out. So I think 80 carry wise, there are good champions that you can prioritize. I also feel like there's good supports that you can look into in terms of prioritizing them, like the Karma, like the Lulu, because a lot of this in this patch now, a lot of the Enchanter supports have been buffed, and a lot of the mechanics that have been going into them have also been buffed in the previous patches. So I feel like support-wise, there's some supports that may begin being much more prioritized and may begin to seeing much more light.
Yeah, I mean, once we take place, when teams are ready to start the draft, like you said, we might anticipate kind of a pick here in terms of not so much the jungling, right, would be the priority. You arguing that actually having Ezreal, like the 80 carry wise, having the first pick on the blue side, kind of indicates the priority
Yep.
for T1. And I think, yeah, T1 could definitely draft themselves an Ezreal. But like you said, hand in hand in terms of the supports, what kind of support would you ideally want to see with an Ezreal? Because you did mention the Enchanter supports. So, I mean, does Yumi qualify in that
Yumi,
scenario?
yeah.
Would you want to see an Ezreal Yumi bot lane like Sven and Vulcan time and time again in the LCS?
Like, and I love that you bring up the Yumi because Yumi not only was she buffed in this previous patch, but
Hmm.
I think that with Ezreal rising in ranks, she certainly is an option that you can go for. And with the much more open pool of junglers, having a support like the Yumi that is really good to go around with your jungler as a two-man gank duo and trying to put pressure on the map. I think that Yumi works really, really well with that. The other two options, obviously, Karma Lulu, which can be effective as well. Obviously, they are still squishy, and realistically, the Yumi is much better than them in the sense that you realistically don't have to leave your body because you're going to be attached to him almost all the time. If you want to try and play around that, it's okay, but you don't have to, which means that you no longer are in a pressured point to try and get bursted out like the Karma and the Lulu may be. So I think Yumi can begin popping up because of that. And if there's junglers like the Olaf, like the Hecarim,
Hmm.
like even Listen to a certain degree that can begin to pop out much more, then I see Yumi being a possibility coming through.
Yeah, we might see the Yumi gameplay here. Honestly, I'm kind of waiting to see if they are going to start with the draft. We have been, I think, had a little bit of a hiccup here in terms of are they using Pro Draft or are they using Draft LOL? Is kind of my question here. As
Seems like they're just using Pro Draft.
yeah, so in Pro Draft, we know a little bit how buggy that could be. So
Yep.
before we get into it, though, like we talked about the Ezreal and Yumi, I don't know. I don't know if we want to see that. To be honest, if that gameplay to me it like screams passive bot lane screams to me that the jungler might be able to gank bot lane, but honestly there's no real setup besides the Yumi ultimate there, so
There's
jungler
another.
has go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say there's another option that
Hmm.
is a little bit more aggressive with the Yumi in the bot lane, and it's Lucian. with the changes that Lucian received
Mhm.
to his passive and how he now works, I think now Enchanter supports obviously work better with him. So Yumi Lucian is a much more aggressive bot lane that you can look into and can be much more interesting to see. And I think some teams may even try to pull it off.
You know, that is an interesting point, Lucian. I want to see Lucian bot lane. Maybe here's the thing. I'm kind of an old, you could call me an old fashioned type of League of Legends players, but I like seeing Lucian with Braum. I think Braum
That
has
was
a
fun.
resurgence, right? In the new meta, 100 Thieves were running him a lot because of the anti-dive meta. And maybe if they could replicate that here today against a team comp where Braum could shine, I think they should definitely draft it. I don't think they should put all their eggs in the one basket saying that, okay, we're going to go Yumi with Ezreal, Yumi with Lucian. I think having that Braum also is a possibility with Lucian, even with Ezreal, but I think it's more stronger with the Lucian pick here. Now, going into the other side of the draft, red side, right? We
Yeah.
got TNT on that side. What would they actually want to draft? You know, what are they going to look to go into this game because they are on the red? Maybe they could counter some of the solo lanes here.
Yeah, red side is always that side that you typically want to have that special power pick that you can take
Mhm.
away, be it if it's a counter pick specific to the matchup or a counter pick that just works really well overall with against the team composition. So obviously, I think TNT should look into going for the solo laners mainly because ideally, bottom lane wise, if there's a first pick bottom lane, you typically answer with a bottom lane from yourself, and there shouldn't be that many issues with answering correctly in the bot in the current meta. Like I say that there should be priority for certain supports and AD carries now, but there's not a bad pool of AD carries that you can pull out and maybe look into playing them. So it's not a completely terrible situation for the side of the bottom lane. But in this top side, I think that there's really good options to counter certain champions. And one of the things that I want to see if they do end up pull it out, although it's just been 1 day since the patch came
Mhm.
out, but I want to see if teams do pull out Singed because I think that as a counter pick can be good, and with the amount of healing that there is in the game currently, Singed can be really effective with the changes that he received.
Yeah, I actually a really good point you bring up there, Singe. This is the first champion that Riot has ever designed, and kind of a fun fact out there, his name is kind of the anagram of the word design. So I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's a small fact right there I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, Singe would be really cool. I think even Yorick would be really cool here. I have been seeing a lot of play rates with Yorick in terms of low
Could be
elo, and
interesting.
sometimes really good split pusher here in the top lane if you are against a good lane that Yorick could shine. So maybe I like to see some heavy split push here. Of course, we know that team fight is where it's at right now. What do you think in terms of like kind of the philosophy of teams approaching team fight, split push, or catch?
I think team fight just makes much more sense because of how valuable objectives are.
Hmm.
Realistically, even though split push can be nice and you can create pressure on some sides, there are champions that can both work well split pushing and team fight as well. Like the Camille, I feel like is one of those examples that you can use effectively in that regard. So realistically, I think that teams should focus much more, or most teams focus much more in the team fighting area to try and not only control objectives but be able to gain the objectives that are so powerful and be able to use them to win the game. So I think that both of the teams will look into it. But looking already at the bans, Cassiopeia, Camila,
Yeah.
Mumu, Ash, Lulu, and Yubi, just like we were talking about the fact that now with the changes, Enchanter supports can feel much stronger. So we already see two banned away, and the Amumu that I was kind of waiting to see if they picked it up, they just banned it away and don't want to see it at all. But Fiddlesticks, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like bans and picks already are going through. Fiddlesticks is getting hovered over, and it's going to be the
Yes.
priority pick for T1. It's an
Okay.
interesting pick. It's not the Ezreal, it's not the Yumi, it's not even, I mean, anything remotely close to it is going to be the Fiddlesticks for now.
Yeah, and it's not a champion that you typically see, not even prioritized. You typically don't see it at all. But I really like that they are going for the Fiddlesticks. First of all, because I think that Fiddlesticks does have a place in the meta. A lot of people don't play it that much, but there's really a lot of good instances to play the Fiddlesticks. And now I know, okay, I'll finish my point with the Fiddlesticks and I will move on quickly. The Fiddlesticks is one of those junglers that warps the game around him because of how his ultimate and his fear mechanic works. Which means that you really need to be careful about how you play against him. It's kind of a nocturne, but can be much more dangerous than a Nocturne overall. So I really like the Fiddlesticks pick, and it also enables solo lane AD solo lanes to be able to be played and not have to worry about the magical damage on the team. So I really like this pick. On the other side, it's Nunu and Jinx. Nunu mainly it's a much more so counter jungling, snowballing, ganking jungler that you want to try and put pressure on really early on, trying to put pressure in the lanes, trying to put pressure in the jungle, try and put the enemy jungler and the enemy laners as far behind as possible. And I think against the Fiddlesticks, that
Mhm.
does farm well enough. It can be a good pick because that way you can try and contest camps and try and put him behind and not let
Mhm.
him hit his level 6 power spike. So I think it can work, but you have to have good lanes paired around the Noodle as well. And a Blitzcrank, wow.
This is a really aggressive draft from T1. They're not really slowing down their role,
Yeah.
are they? Their third pick is going to indicate to me what they want for bot lane. Is going to be the Zaya maybe here. I'm not really too sure about the Zaya. I think interesting enough does have kind of get out of jail free card with her ultimate, but it is not the best way to kind of disengage, right? It is a way still. With the Blitzcrank, what do you think of this bot lane so far?
I think the idea with the Saya Blitzcrank, oh my god. I think, well, I finished. With the Saya Blitzcrank, I think the idea there is to try and burst out a champion. One of the best champions to try and execute with the Blitzcrank is the Saya because of her E. So I think the
Hmm.
idea may be around that if you're able to grab the Jinx, and if they pick the Soraka, they should die instantaneously because of the amount of damage that can go through in the bot lane. I'm really glad that they picked Nautilus, not because it's better than Soraka. Soraka is honestly a really great champion. It's just because I hate the champion so much and I don't want to see it ever.
Hmm.
But Soraka realistically is one of the, I think, the better champions in this patch. I think she
Hmm.
certainly can work really well with a lot of AD carries, and she is one of the champions that doesn't stop scaling. So if one team picks her up and you don't have a surefire way to destroy her, she can just be such a huge menace. But they opt for the Nautilus. I think the more tanky option because they see the Blitzcrank, they see the Saya, and think that if one of the two, like we were talking about, if one of the two, the
Hmm.
Soraka or the Jinx, ended up getting hooked, they can just get bursted out. So at least with
Yeah.
the Nautilus, you have the mid shield in front of the Jinx to kind of make it dissuade the attempt from Blitzcrank and Saya, which I
Hmm.
don't think will happen.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk a little bit about before this game even started about where supports stand in the meta, right? We got
Yeah.
enchanter supports that are kind of like the go-to as far as the last patch and this patch is concerned. They did receive a couple of buffs. Here, they did want to go. You could tell that TNT wanted to go Soraka. Like that was maybe their game plan with the Jinx to just have her kind of like a heal amp, heal amp in team fights, survive as much as she can. But they just had to go Nautilus here because they're facing that Blitzcrank.
And I think it's mainly fear. I feel like there was an avenue to go for the Soraka, especially if you have a tank top laner to just soak up
Mhm.
the hooks. But like you're saying, I think that fear kind of won over TNT and just wanting to have that extra mid shield in front of the Shinx to just protect her, and maybe the other carry that is in the mid lane to facilitate the game. I feel like the Blitzcrank pick here was a great dissuader from the side of T1 to make TNT not want to go for probably better champions, but champions that can be much more susceptible to getting killed. And you typically don't want to play that if you can.
Yeah, the Fiora pick also, I think now it makes sense. They didn't want to go tanky top. They opted out for the Fiora. That's why they picked the Nautilus and not the Soraka. With the Fiora, they have more split power push, right? And on top of that, Nunu could set up for nice ganks in the bot lane.
Yep.
Maybe they could play towards the mid side here. But what do you think overall power? Fiora brings a lot of split push, but is she really good here
Holy.
against the Volley Bear? Is kind of getting worried right now for
Okay.
TNT as far as the team
Hey,
fight is concerned.
teamfight wise, yes, but I'm looking at T1's composition, and one of the points that you brought up was the split push. And realistically, who of these members actually win against the Fiora? I don't think there's any.
Hmm.
Like the only one would be if Fiddlesticks is on the side, you don't have vision, and he comes in and fears you for 2 seconds, and then you are with a Bolivar. Then maybe you can pull it off. But if
Hmm.
not, Fiora should be able to kill every champion from the side of T1, even the Vladimir, because
Yeah.
she does have the Conqueror does stack really well against the Vladimir. So you have to be really careful. The only thing that I don't like about the Fiora pick was the timing where she was picked, because I feel like you should leave a champion like her for the last pick. But overall, I think that right now in the how the T1 composition went, Fiora can work really effectively if she's played
Hmm.
really well and she does get the resources or the attention that she deserves. Or if you are able to not get the attention from the enemy jungler, I think that Fiora works exceptionally well in this game. And the victor last pick.
Ooh, this is interesting 5v5 right now. I think it's going to be battle of the hooks in the bot lane. And of course, we'll see if Fiora is able to really steamroll her way into any 1v1s, possibly
Yeah.
kind of having, putting up the question, are you guys willing to deal with me with more than one person? And it's kind of like going to bring you that split push team comp where the essence of that team comp is to create so much pressure via one laner, which is going to be split push, where the enemy team has to put more than one person to deal with you, right? So it's going
Yeah.
to create some unbalances on the map. Hopefully, we'll see if the Fiora will be online here. And I'm assuming the Volibear is going to go top lane here. Vladimir is going to go mid, obviously, right? And Zaya Blitzcrank gonna go bot lane with Fiddlesticks jungle. Although, do you see a possibility of flex pick here? Maybe the Volibear and Vladimir could maybe flex their lanes, but what do you think of
Could
this
also be
so far?
Could also be, and and this is like stretching it as much as possible. Fiddlesticks mid, Vladimir top, Bolivar jungle. That could also be an option, and I think that probably is not as bad as I would think it can be against for the Fiora against the Fiora. I mean, but it would be stretching it way too much. Composition wise, I feel like TNT went for the idea because of the Victor last pick. I feel like their idea is fighting a 4v5,
Mhm.
not actually fighting a 5v5, but fighting consistently a 4v5 with champions that can kind of survive or fight without having the need of having the fifth member. And I
Yeah,
think
Fiora
that
in this
Victor and
case.
Jinx, yeah, I think that the full purpose of the Fiora is to split push and create pressure on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, the Victor, Jinx, Nunu, and Nautilus are trying to be a rock that can
Mhm.
survive in a 4v5 in case it happens. But if they are obviously fighting a 4v5 can be hard consistently most of the time, especially with in mobile carriers like the Jinx and the Victor that can be
Mhm.
susceptible to getting dove on by ultimates like the Fiddlesticks or the Vladimir. But if you're able to survive long enough, the teamfight from TNT is not bad because you have the Jinx and the Victor. Those are still two really great late game carries. And if you ever reach a point where it's a 4v5 at 35 minutes with Jinx and Victor with 3 or 4 items, and if you're a split pushing, you can create so much pressure for the side of T1, which they may try to overcommit and just lose a fight because of that. So I think that's the whole purpose of TNT. But if they do end up just going for fights, I think that wouldn't be the most ideal because composition wise, the 5v5 composition from T1 it's much better for fights.
Yeah, yeah. Team one definitely are gonna put kind of that overarching question. Are you willing to fight against us 5v4? Or are
Yeah,
you gonna have to bring your Fiora into the fight? And that's a big question, right? Because you got team one with great engages. I mean, I'm looking at the Volibear ultimate. I'm looking at the hook, the rocket grab from the Blitz here. So if you're already kind of fall victim to the hands of Blitzcrank on that 4v5, it's going to go south real quick that you don't even have enough time to react. Yes, you have the dredge line on the other side with the Nautilus, but just think about it real quick, right? They have so many follow-ups to just pretty much anything that they decide to go all out on, right? Because Vladimir could go flash
yeah.
in EQ combo. We know how deadly that could be. Volibear with the ultimate, just picking apart team fights. And I think the 4v5 is not looking that strong. So I think Fiora is going to have a problem this game.
Yeah, it's going to, for me at least, it's going to bank completely on the Fiora being able to just be a menace on the side end. Because if it's like we said previously, if it devolves into a 5v5 between both teams, it just seems like it's such an obvious thing to say that the side of T1 should be able to win because of how their composition works.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
main, my only problem with that would be, funnily enough, the Blitzcrank, because I feel like Blitzcrank as a follower, it's not that good. It's mainly an initiator, and if you fail your hook, you pretty much cannot do anything more later on in the fight. So I think something else that could have followed up on the Fiddlesticks, on the Bolivar, on the Vladimir could have maybe been better. But overall, I think the Blitzcrank pick can also work well enough because if it ends up being a situation where it's a 4v5, like we were talking about with TNT wanting to much more put pressure with the Fiora on the sideline and the other four members trying to fight, the Blitzcrank pick can break that up because of the hook. So there's that option, and if it's like that, then I think the Blitzcrank pick then comes completely valuable because of that situation. But if not, I think it could have been better.
Yeah, I think we talked about Orkazo here in the top lane, piloting the Fiora against Outrage. Something to want to see here. Keep your eyes glued to the screen. And of course, the bot lane Paladin Solanka versus the, I believe, Too Legit. With the support obviously being machine, it's going to bring a lot of questions to the table here, whether or not they're able to get their early lanes ahead, if they're able to get their side lanes pushed with the Fiora on the top lane. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and we are going to dive into the game after a short break. But before the break, though, TDS, I wanted to ask, what is your prediction overall? Like, we did talk about it, but let's go 30 seconds on the clock to talk about what else we didn't cover.
My prediction wise, I think that if I'm going to bet on a team, I honestly would think that
Mhm.
the side of TNT should win. I think that realistically, with what they drafted, they have a really good idea of how to fight the 4v5 with the Fiora just creating pressure. And the Nunu can work really, really effectively this game because if you're able to gank the Fiora and get her ahead, realistically, you don't need to do that much. As long as you're able to shadow her in the early game and put her in
Mhm.
a really comfortable advantage, 1v1 wise, she shouldn't lose against the Bolivar. And then the Nunu can look into maybe supporting either the Victor or the Jinx, but overall, he doesn't need to do much more than just supporting the Fiora. And then, like we were saying in the later stage of the game, when it reaches 30 minutes, 35 minutes, with the Victor and Jinx with 4 items each, it is really hard to try and commit, to try and go on top of them. And if you end up going on top of them and you cannot kill them fast enough, then the counter damage can be so huge that it doesn't matter if the Fiora is there or not. So I think the side of TNT should have the possibility to win this game effectively, and I would bet on them. But I'm not discounting the possibility of Team One doing it, just in case. I think they have a really good team fight composition that has a lot of ultimates that are really effective, and if they are able to execute, then
Yeah.
they should be able to take it.
Well, interesting point there. As I want to kind of have my 2 cents in here, as every early game starts, my eyes are going to be glued to the screen in terms of watching Voidcraft and Pancakes here on the jungling path. We'll see what kind of pressure they're able to create in the early game and how they're able to translate their lead into further cementing the victory for their team. And this is a best of 3 series, so anything goes. Teams kind of should have I don't know, I guess one more chance after this game to improve on their mistakes. If they had
Yeah.
huge blunders, there's still another chance. But that said, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with the games. Don't go anywhere. we are back. This is going to be the first game between these two teams. And obviously, it's going to be action-packed, right? We did talk a little bit about it previously. But before we dive right into it, quick introductions here. I'm your host. I guess your play-by-play caster for today, joined by my friend here, TDS. How's it going?
Excited. I thought we were going to get a level 1. I'm disappointed because it didn't happen, but at least there was an idea. There was an attempt. That's what matters.
That's what matters indeed. And I'm going to ask if Observer is able to stream the game in the Discord real quick. But yeah, going into it though, we shouldn't expect anything out of the ordinary. No invades, because there is a possibility, because every time there's a blitz on the map, you get a possibility of getting invaded, right? But it looks like Team 1, they're going to opt not to do that. We're going to see things more calm.
Yeah, and I think that was the original idea by the side of TNT, to try and protect from the Blitzcrank, going as a 5-man unit in case the Blitzcrank try to go into the jungle, and you can respond to that. But because it didn't work out and they didn't save the Blitzcrank, they just separated once again into their places. They just lay out vision in case a late invade comes out, and they are just going to go for the normal path.
Yeah, the normal path is kind of what we're seeing here. Bot side Leash starting things off, and it looks like Fiddlesticks is going to start on the top side. This is an interesting look on how things are going. We should expect to see maybe level 3 gank by the Nuno, right? But what would you say this Fiddlesticks wants to do here?
I think the Fiddlesticks is akin to the Nocturne. Oh, the hook.
Oh, the hook
first
is
hook.
so strong. That's the first hook of the game. It unfortunately does not amount to anything else. It's just a hook, and looks like Nautilus does have the dredge line to follow up. Obviously, if your support it engages on your ADC and you're the other support, what do you do at that scenario? You always want to go on the enemy AD carry, right? At that point.
Yeah, ideally you would like to go on top of the enemy AD carry so that at trade you would end up winning. Oh, really nice trading by the Fiora. She can win this, by the way.
For Outrage, that's already the flash used.
Look at the skill.
The flash follow. That's going to be the first blood, ladies and gentlemen. Or Kazo starting the series off strong. That's a 2-0. What does it say 2-0 for me on this feed? Everything is so bugged today, man. It is a 1-0. It's gonna be TNT.
Yeah, and that is the thing about that Fiora versus Bolivar matchup. Realistically, if you're a really good Fiora player, you can time the parry really easily against a Bolivar, and you can get the kill like that. I think that you didn't even need to use the flash because of the cooldown from the Q, but just in case Orcaso doesn't want to risk anything, he gets the kill, he gets the teleport as well. And if you're able to get, now with the gank from the Noon that is coming onto the top side, the kill, you can get such a good advantage. Oh, Jinx.
You can get a really good advantage here. As you see, a lot of stuff happening over the top side. Outrage again.
No flash?
This is Deja Vu for him. No flash. This time under the turret. He's going to bite the dust. Pancakes is now with the kill. Now it's a 2-0. There it is. The curse for the casters, I guess. And obviously TNT are in the lead. And another rocket grab under the turret. She's dead as a doornail. Nowhere to go but back to the fountain. Finally, a retaliation kill for Team 1.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been 3 for 3 with the Blitzcrank. Has hit it consistently, the Jinx, so that you have to blow anything. And look at the CS difference in the bot lane. 25 to 9, and you also get a plate in the for the Saya. This is excellent news for the bottom lane of T1, and really good news as well for T1 overall, because after what happened on the top side, getting that advantage in the bottom lane was going to be crucial to try and keep the game going.
Trying to keep game going here in the top lane. Lead has been kind of how to say this, not pretty for Outrage. He's so behind in terms of CS, so behind in terms of pressure, and you see he's down a level as well. But that you shouldn't worry too much about a Volibear being down on levels. May be able to scale back into the game. You're looking for the team fights anyway, right? Not the dominance in the lane. But shouldn't this be alarming for Team 1 at this point?
Yeah, the main problem is that even though you want to use, like you're saying, the Bolivar much more for teamfights than it is for split pushing, the problem now goes into what we noted in the draft. Who is going to respond to the Fiora? If she's super strong, realistically, who can fight against the Fiora? No one. If the Bolivar loses, no one can.
Yeah. If Bolivar is not ahead, I mean, maybe you could get the side lane at least to be a little bit alleviated from the pressure. Maybe sending your Vladimir there, maybe sending your Fiddlesticks there to pick up the pressure. But obviously, right now, Orcaso, if they had Ignite, I would even assume they could just dive this Volibear on their turn and get that solo kill. But so far, they decided to opt out for the TP for obvious reasons. You see mid lane collapse happening. Nuno with the snowball here, and Rosemary's going to pop the W to stay alive. And Vladimir, this is what goes for Vladimir. He's really hard to target, especially when he has his pool.
Yeah, the only good thing is that there's a good CS difference in the mid lane as well, so even though the Vladimir can survive like we have seen and has good enough survivability, he's still being put behind really effectively in the lane by the Victor, and Yodeler has been doing a good job to put pressure on the Vladimir as well, so overall, really nice job from the top side of TNT to try and keep pressure up, get winning lanes, and put themselves in an advantageous position. The only worrying thing is still the Jinx, but if the Jinx can get to her strong point with the rest of the map being strong, I think that that's going to be the most ideal thing for her.
Yeah, so far, you know, we have to also point out that there is the Cloud on the map, bot side neutral objective, and the priority so far in terms of bot side, it is in favor of Team 1. As you see the pressure, they might even translate this for a quick Cloud as I'm talking about it.
Yeah,
they are going to go for it. Yeah, they seem to like it. They have created enough pressure through that rocket grab, through that all-in potential with the Xayah and Blitz that they're just going to simply pick up this drag, maybe with no contest, right? Nobody's going to put up a fight against it. So nice and easy.
Yeah, and this is a really important objective for the side of Team 1 to keep their eyes onto, because the top side already is going really badly, and the Fiora will be able to create a split push power. But your composition realistically was designed to go for teamfights and win teamfights, which means that if you're able to force a really early Soul or a really early Elder, forcing the side of TNT to try and contest that can be massive for your composition that is much more designed for the teamfights like we were saying. So I think this is a really important objective to keep our eyes on and to keep the T1 into the game.
Yeah, Team 1 needs to stay in the game. They did the first right step towards that, right? Their objective is to probably rack up on the Dragons, maybe get Soul, as they are behind a 1k goal lead just based on the fact that 2 kills just easily went over to TNT. Right now, Team 1, they're scratching their heads, right? They're just thinking, what can we do to win over in the late game as well? Because the pressure is going to be building up through that Fiora top lane.
Yeah, it's going to be really important that they know or at least have an idea of what to do against the Fiora, but I honestly don't know, apart from the fact of sending 2 or 3 members topside to try and put up a stop to the Fiora. I don't know what else can they realistically hope to do, because the Fiora can just keep getting stronger with the farm that she gets, even if she doesn't get blades or she doesn't get another kill. As long as she gets farm, she's in a really happy spot.
Yeah, as talking about farm, she's hiding in that bush, maybe for a possible she's. She is going to go for it in the 1v1's Outrage. He is running under the turret, making a bolt for the door. Great stun under the turret. This is huge. Outplay possibility. Here comes Fiddlesticks in the equation. Blast going out of his way. Gets saved for the day to follow up with Outrage, but he's too far from Orcaso. And you see in the more skirmish happening as Nunu trying to get away. Yodeler. Speaking of Yodeler, he is ahead in CS in terms of being ahead. We're talking about farm. He's creating himself a nice lead, just having 70 CS compared to 49 that Vladimir is sitting on.
Yeah, and there's a really important thing with the Vladimir, much more than items. Vladimir really depends on getting the CS and getting to his Hexcrop rate. And the fact that he's so far ahead already of the Vladimir alone in lane without any help from the Nunu, it's really important, because that means that later on he will get his access to his upgrades much more easily. Oh wait.
What a skirmish in the bot side. Great rock grab, turning a 3v2 for a maybe winnable fight. And then pulling through Paladin Slonka with the kill. That was a 2v3. What a blunder from TNT.
Yeah, really wanting to force the play, and I'm not against it, but you don't have level 6 Jinx instead.
Oh my goodness, nowhere out of that one. Blitz says, meet your maker, I'm the better supporter with all the hooks. Maybe that's what's going through his head as he's making a lot of plays happen. Team 1 looking very comfortable at this point, 3-2. Yep. They actually found their silver lining. We were talking about how they were probably going to be worried about this Orcaso top lane. But forget about the top lane. Look at this bot lane. Now TNT, they're scratching their heads.
Yeah, it comes from blunders in the top lane. First of all, what happened with the Fiora, I think the Fiora tried to go for the solo kill. It's not bad that you attempted, but you have to play around your parry. You get a stun under turret, you don't get the full heal, then you almost get traded by the Fiddlesticks. Luckily, you were able to force one flash from the Bolivar and survive, so it didn't amount to anything. But on the bot side, I understand why the Nunu was going there. The Nunu needed to be there because the Saya Blitzcrank was making a freeze near the turret, and you had to break it up. It's an obligation that you have to break it up, because if not, the Jinx can just get completely destroyed. But you cannot go in for a play. Just push the wave, let your carry back, and then try and think about something else later on. Because if you fail that play like they did, it can be a much worse situation.
Speaking of a much worse situation, the Rocket grab is clean. Yoler is in a lot of trouble. He's going to back away. Dredgeline pulling back that. Vladimir is going to have to opt out.
Oh, he died.
But what? The Himoplague Wit coming in clutch here. And Voidcraft here is making it work and gets that solo kill. Solo Bolo as well, but Nunu is in the mix. Does miss that W by a wide margin. It's a game of inches at this point. 5-2, still Team One are in the lead.
Yeah, you could say that it's a game of inches, but I think it's a game of blitzes, because Blitzcrank has been doing everything in his power to try and make the side of T1 be ahead, and not only is the plays on the bottom lane putting ahead the Saya, but now also moving into the mid lane to make the Victor that was winning the lane be as far behind as possible. You blow the flash, you get the kill onto the Vladimir, no less, and then you are now moving with your oh wait, Fiddlesticks?
Oh, Fiddlesticks.
Fiddle? What?
They get caught out there. The
no flash
used by Pancakes. Victor is going to pick up that kill. AB Buggy is on the runaway. Can he make a break for it? And he's making a bolt for the door, as well as Paladin here. Grab over the wall, not clean, as it misses the target. And no play to be had after that, as it is 5-3. Still Team One are in the lead.
Yeah, they are still in the lead. Oh, wait.
Wait, this is a really good play. Finding the opportunity there and showing up when it's needed, but traded instantly. Yola finally second one for him in the game, 2-1, and looking real good.
Hey, another kill is another kill, so I think the side of TNT wants to take it. But interesting decision making by both teams. First, the Fiddlesticks trying to keep on contesting. After securing the blue buff, you can leave there, and the Blitzcrank was already leaving, which means that you're trying to put yourself in a not so good position and trying to force something. Ends up biting the Fiddlesticks badly, and he ends up dying really dumbly. And then the Nunu tries to do something similar in the Tribush, going without vision against the Saya, and the Blitzcrank ends up getting killed. But at least they are able to get the response kill on the Blitzcrank, so it's not a complete loss by the side of TNT. And they will also be able to secure this Drake, it seems, because the Fiddlesticks is on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks is nowhere near. He's trying to make a run for it. Voidcraft.
It
looks like they're going to TP ball in, though. Yeah. Nunu is going to secure it, and TP kind of wasted as Yolder is trying to get away. Voidcraft going to bring him back right into that team fight. Ocean is going to be our soul baby. Volibear with the first kill on the scoreboard. Orkazo still split pushing, though.
Yeah, at least Orkazo is doing what he needs to do. I like the idea. I think that's... Oh, wait.
Another fight breaking up here over in the bot lane. Batting down to Hatches, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a 3v2.
Not here.
Like Pancake is going to step away instead of 2v2 as Voidcraft is going to flash over the wall back to safety. Rocket Grab not going to be used for that fight. They're going to just regroup. Fight another day.
Realistically, I don't think the Rocket Grab would have worked that well, because it was still in the enemy jungle, and if you're not able to get the kill at the start, it was not going to work out. The Saya wasn't a part of that small skirmish with the Blitzcrank and the Fiddlesticks, which means that they weren't going to be able to win it. Luckily, they are able to run away with their lives, because if not, that could have been a really important swing, giving kills to the Jinx. That I just need to keep on noting this. Look at the CS difference between the Jinx and the Saya. That is really important, and it's not only that. It's the gold from the plate with the kills as well. The difference in AD carries is so massive at this point of the game.
Yeah, the AD carry diff, we're talking about it, right? Xayah does have an easier time to win the game versus the Jinx, who's kind of fighting a hard-fought battle. She is on the back foot, right? Trying to make a run for it. An uphill battle in general for TNT, as they are behind 2K Gold. At this point, Team 1, they just need to further cement their lead, and with the Rocket Grab, it's going to initialize that, and here you see Pancakes, or rather, Machine is in a lot of trouble, going to bite the dust. That didn't last too long. He was shredded to pieces. The flash away from the Death Rocket, back to safety. That's a 1-for-0 in favor of Team 1.
Yeah, and that's the problem at being so far behind. Maybe they can get the first turret, which if they can could be great, but Fiddlesticks ult.
Fiddlesticks all over the wall, trying to buy some more time, but it is a 2v2 as Outrage is here to pick up a kill with the... goes all out with the ultimate. Look at the HP bars though on the Nunu, trying to get away with the ultimate. Not good enough as you see Rosemary collapsing here over the top lane. Orcazo now on the getaway.
She still has flash.
She does have flash. She's trying to go up and
but she gets stunned.
under the turret. She is ignited, very low on HP. It looks like Rosemary's gonna go for it, but Yolder is here as well to retaliate. Oh my goodness, Orcazo lives through that, and the retaliation from Yolder is gonna put a lot of dent to that Outrage HP on the runaway. Voidcraft as well on the top side. Very low on HP. They don't want to fight this. TNT find a play. Finally something for them in the last 3 minutes. They were quiet.
Yeah, and I think Yolder should have been much more active in going forward, because realistically, apart from the minion waves, the Fiddlesticks doesn't have mana, the Bolivar doesn't have health, so you shouldn't be that scared of the minions at that point, especially with the Blitzcrank, the Nautilus coming from behind. But I'm still okay with having the respect, because realistically, you don't need to overcommit. You get the outplay on the top lane, you get the turret, the first turret, you also get the kill on the Vladimir. It's still a really nice win, and you're also getting the Jinx to farm a little bit, so overall, it's not a bad thing. But TNT still need to pull so much more things forward, because the difference in top laners is not comparable to the difference in AD carries at this point. And realistically, and we talked about this, Bolivar will get value in teamfights, but the Jinx will not, because of how far behind she is. So you, at this point of the game, as T1, have a good enough point to try and focus around with the Xayah, and with the Soul, the Ocean Soul coming up really soon, or those Ocean Drakes stacking up really soon, then the side of T1 can really look into that with condition. The hook.
The rocket grab has been the name of the game as Jinx flashes away from it. I want to take kind of a step back, look at this game from bird's eye view, right? Looking at kind of the weaknesses and strengths, we're looking at Xayah as the only carry possible, with kind of hand in hand with Vladimir here as they are ahead, because they're themselves are fighting against a really good carry like Orcazo here over the top lane, who has 48 CS advantage, more CS compared to Volibear. And just look at the Victor here as well. So we are still kind of anybody's game at this point, right? It is only around that 3K gold mark for Team 1, but what's your take on it when we step aside and look at it at a bird's eye view?
It's not, like you're saying, it's not a super huge lead, and if you are able to get picks for the Fiora or even the Victor, can be really impactful. Oh, they don't know about the Fiddlesticks here.
Oh, they don't know what the heck is going on, but it looks like they're turning around the fight. Very nice, gonna flash over the wall with the Q. The heal comes through as well, but Outrage is still chasing. He's baying for blood, but look at the fight. Voidcraft is here as well. It gets pulled. Oh my goodness, Orcazo is in a lot of trouble. He's gonna leap out of that pit, and the emo's thrown by Buggy like not today. But that was a really great opportunity for Team 1 to get kills. It just TNT got away scot-free.
Yeah, I don't know how TNT was able to run away. Mainly the Noon one, the Fury. I don't know how they were able to survive. But like you're saying, T1, this was one of their best chances. Try and get kills onto the members of TNT and try and push the tempo of the game farther. Because even though it's not like they are running in a super slim time frame to try and win the game, they still need to be able to keep up the tempo of the game, because Victor and Jinx, when they reach 4 items, they are 2 of the most unmatched carries in the game. So there needs to still be consideration about those champions. Oh, he gets it.
Yeah, you don't want to rule them out still, because Jinx possibly could come back later to make a difference. And obviously you see 3-0 and 2 Xayah is still climbing up. Has a decent game so far, perfect game rather, right? The only one kill in the bot lane was Buggy, and he himself is just one death away from having it a perfect game. So you could see the pressure, you could see it's palpable in the air, and I'm sure, you know, the bot lane is feeling it on the side of TNT. They just need to make something happen. What are their win cons? We did talk a little bit about it, but would you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, the win cons are playing around the Fiora split push, and the Victor and the Jinx being 2 strong carries or 2 strong rocks that don't fall for this. Oh wait, Fiddlesticks ulti?
Speaking of opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Opportunity presence up, but it's not looking a good fight. Look at that ultimate by Nunu. Does a lot of damage, and Paladin gets it, but instantly traded turnaround. Jinx is doing a lot of damage on the Chase. Outrage gonna bite the dust. That's a triple for Yodeler. They're making it rain on the Rift. TNT find the place.
and Fiora is alone split pushing on the top side. I gotta say, why didn't the Jinx get a kill? I wish she got a kill, because that fight would have been the perfect opportunity to turn around the game completely on its head. This was still a nice fight, don't get me wrong, but it's not, I feel like, not yet enough to put a really nice stamp from the side of TNT, because the Jinx didn't get a kill. If the Jinx gets a kill, that begins to turn things around much more. But I gotta say, that fight was forced by the side of T1, and they paid the price, because the Fiddlesticks doesn't have Sonya's. He gets bursted out immediately, and then the rest of the members just follow suit. The Fiora was never a part of this fight, and I really love this by TNT. They didn't try and do anything with the Fiora, they just left her on top side. Yes, she doesn't have to teleport, but they could have called her up previously if the push was going to be risky, but they left her to her own devices. She keeps on speed pushing, and you, as the 4-man unit that you have drafted, you fight that fight effectively and are able to win it. That is really good news for TNT, because this is something that can happen when the Jinx gets 4 items or 3 items as well. So it's not something that it's impossible to keep on happening.
Don't try to run before you could walk. But the problem here is that triple kill was really clean on the side of Yoler, that he's pulling things, he's pulling the strings. Speaking of that dredge line, opening up a fight, flash over the wall,
nice
and gonna get away, but the rocket grab is not gonna hit. You see Voidcraft on the front line, try to look for an ultimate here, does not connect, no play to be had after that, as it is still 11-8. 34k versus 36k, only 2k difference here. And not gonna lie, I mean, I'm kind of impressed with Yoler here. He's kind of the dark horse. Silently making his way up with a triple kill, turning things around. He's looking like the main carry at this point.
Yeah, and you can carry as a Victor. It's one of those champions, like we were saying previously, that in the later stages of the game is one of those carries that are unmatched with 3, 4, 5 items, because of how effective his Hex Core upgrades are and how much AP damage he gets progressively. His Chaos Storm as well can destroy targets if they are not careful. So I think that Victor Shoulder, like you're saying, the wild card of the game is going to be able to maybe carry the game if he's able to play effectively. But we still yet need to see, because next fight, maybe they are going to fight for the Dragon. I hope that the side of TNT doesn't force that fight, because if they are able to buy the Jinx much more time, it's going to be effective. But the next time that they force a fight, they need to be careful about the flashes and the movement that the Jinx and the Victor will be able to do, because if they get stuck in one place or they are not able to run away or move, they can get bursted out really easily.
They can get bursted out real easily. As you see, Vladimir also skates nicely into the late game, as we see AP Buggy looking for an opportunity. Machine gets pulled, but look, there's a surprise out of the window. Comes Nunu, knocking him dead, as the ultimate does a lot of damage, but it's not good. Zaya going to shut down the possibility of that. As you see in the front line, Yoler is getting shredded to pieces. Going to go back to the fountain. A huge shutdown for Team 1, as they are now back in the lead. 3k gold. They might look for the Baron here as well.
Yeah, and this is the problem, getting baited by going on to the Blitzcrank. It's nice that you want to force things, but the Jinx is still not that strong, just has 1 item, and the Victor wasn't close by. If it was the Victor going on top of the Blitzcrank with the Jinx and the Nunu, then maybe I can see a world where that play is not completely bad and you can force the fight. But because it's the Jinx and not the Victor, they don't kill the Blitzcrank, the fight turns out much more easy to execute for the side of T1, and they are able to turn around 2 kills. They get 2 kills from that. They get the Victor kill that is so massive. They also get the Baron now, and they should be able to get this Dragon 9 contested. It's 30 seconds for it, and they are already rushing out. I don't think there should be a chance for the side of TNT to fight this, but if they try to force it, they may be in a bad situation, although crucial ultimates are down, just to keep in mind.
Crucial ultimates are down, and no kills for Jinx so far. I think this is kind of a record, no, for 80 carries. 23 minutes into the game and no kills. Bad, and a great rocket grab out of nowhere has forced the flash from Pancakes, as you see, back to safety next to the allies. They're grouping up for this objective. This is an interesting bot side objective to take, because 1 more for Team 1 coming into Soul Point. Another rocket grab, crucial, no flash on Pancakes this time around. It's just gonna get deleted without the jungler alive. You know what that means? Easy take on the objective. No chance for a 50-50 smite fight.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be easy, and I really hate that they were going to try and attempt to fight that Drake, because realistically there shouldn't be any chance to contest it. You're leaving the Fiora to keep on split pushing, which is the correct play, but you don't need to put so many members on the Drake. You cannot fight that Drake with the Jinx as she is right now, with the Victor that, even though it's really far ahead, doesn't have flash, so it's really risky for you.
Really risky is the name of the game. You got Machine the front. Like he's playing very unconfident. He's just trying to sidestep those rocket grabs. Look at the amount of pressure Buggy is creating, but not a lot of HP for him to survive the burst from Victor as he uses the ultimate. You see as well, Machine with a nice dredge line gets Voidcraft and a Rude, but look at that Solanka Paladin trying to make a run for it. Does have the Baron buff. They don't want to lose another Baron, but no, that's not gonna be. Oh, gets a kill on the way out. A huge shutdown. Nonetheless, you see more kills in the favor of TNT. Double kill for them.
Yeah, Bolivar coming through, trying to get something. Oh, the Victor doesn't have flash.
Victor does not have flash, gets engaged on Outrage, uses the ultimate, but nice enough timing for the Zonias, for the Victor. Like we said, he's the main carry with 9 kills. He has the torch in his hand, he's leading the crew to victory.
And Jinx still doesn't get a kill. Even with all that happened, she still doesn't get the kill. That's so sad news. But yeah, they are able to take away 3 Baron buffs from the side of Team 1. That is really important. And even though they may lose this inhibitor, which I don't think it's the end of the world. Oh, Outrage!
Look at Victor, man. This Yodeler guy has been on fire the entire game. I thought the carry, like we said, was going to be the Fiora. Nonetheless, I'm not taking anything away from Orkazo. He's been doing phenomenal so far in terms of split pushing, creating that, 37, almost has 100 CS lead over Volibear, right? But in terms of team fighting, Yodeler has been able to step it up.
Yeah, the thing is that we have been seeing much more teamfights because T1 understand that that's their main win condition. They cannot answer the Fiora. And because of that, we have seen much more action from the Victor, being able to fight effectively in the teamfights, answer correctly, and get a lot of kills and damage down. So it makes sense that we are seeing much more of the Victor. And I do agree as well with the fact that the Victor seems much more of the carry because of what he needs to do to keep the game going. The side of TNT are not in a really good spot, speaking honestly. They lost an inhibitor in mid lane, which I think it's the best inhibitor to lose because it's the easiest inhibitor to protect. But it means that Victor has to play way better than he usually would need to be able to keep the game going. So it just showcases much more how well he's playing.
Yeah, how well he's able to carry his team so far because they really need a carry to step up as Jinx has 0 kills. However, did complete the Kraken Slayer, so it is a really good thing to go against like such players like the Volibear, like the Vladimir. You want to just be able to shred the tanks, and I think Jinx is able to do that. But nonetheless, you see Vladimir is kind of like the runner-up carry here as well. On the flip side of things for Team 1, as Team 1 in the early part, they did have Paladin Slanka just put so much damage. You see they are 6-2 on the Zaya, but right now the runner-up carry is going to be Rosemary, and I think that's what we need to look out for.
Yeah, the Vladimir will be one of the main factors in this game because his ultimate and his flank potential will determine a lot if the Victor is able to survive the fight or not, and if the Jinx is able to survive as well. So, like you're saying, I think Rosemary will be really crucial, and I need to point a little thing with Fiora in this game, and it's the fact that even though the Fiora had the huge lead and she could have tried to impact much more the map, realistically, she cannot try and play that aggressively because the rest of the map was losing, which means that she doesn't have the vision control to try and keep on pushing the waves. And I think that thing about not having the vision control and the power to try and keep on split pushing has meant that the side of TNT has been much weak, trying to go for plays and trying to create pressure.
And speaking of pressure, you got Fiora now rotating over the bot side. She is trying to pick up some side lane gold lead for herself, but you see the rest of the Team 1 squad, they are going to collapse on her as they're making their way. The mid lane, it looks like it's going to get pushed, or Kazo going to get away with scot-free, no collapse to be had. And it's just like Team 1 are in a better position to take away the dragon that's going to be spawning in 28 seconds.
Good thing Saya's up here, though.
Oh, Orkazo very low on HP. The Death Rocket does connect. Rosemary gonna have to go with the W to flash away. And look at the kill. Fiddlesticks with the first one. Yodeler making it work.
But he's not here.
Here is Victor turning things around. 1 kill, 2 kill. There it is. There is TNT, and they are unstoppable through this Victor. Yodeler is causing havoc on the Rift, 15-17, and now more chase happening here. W does not land, but does Pancake get enough HP to get away? The answer is no. Rosemary gets shut down instantly there. Huge kills for the Victor, possibly putting them in the lead to get that objective over the bot side.
I have way better news. Jinx has a kill. She finally did it.
Oh,
she
no
finally
way.
got the kill.
She got a kill. Paladin here uses the feathers.
Saya? She's dead.
Sidestep that. She
She's
is
raped.
dead as a doornail. There it is. They can't make a break for it.
That fight is huge for the side of TNT. They not only get this rake, so it's now another 5 minutes for the next dragon, so Soul gets delayed. You also get the teamfight win. The Victor gets much more kills. He's now 14-3. The Jinx finally gets a kill, but you're able to slow down the game. And we're finally reaching the point that we were talking about previously. 3 to 4 items on the carries from the side of TNT, being able to fight much more effectively. And that fight, when it looked like it was going to go well for the side of T1 because they were able to take down the Fiora really early on, the Vladimir didn't die, and they were almost able to force it. But the crucial factor, Saya wasn't there in that fight. She was really, really far away. She was first on top side, then she backed and then tried to go into the Dragon, which objectively is not a bad play to try and keep the push and then go to fight for the Dragon because the Dragon is the important objective. But as a team, you cannot fight without your super fed AD carry and think that you can win. It was a 4v5. And they ended up losing it because the Saya, the main damage dealer, wasn't there.
Yeah, interesting stuff so far. TNT, despite being behind 2k gold, and in terms of turret count, it is 2 to 5. They're making their way into the jungle to clear up some wards as the Baron is on the map. You see how methodical they're moving as a group. And now it looks like over the wall, Blitzcrank try to go for a juke there, maybe a cheese. Maybe he's going to grab someone over the wall, and it is going to be, who is it? Oh my goodness, no, not the Fiora. But the dredge line used to retaliate as Voidcraft going to go gold, and you see the rest of the team are collapsing on TNT as they're trying to make a break for it. Pancake's going to flash over the wall, dredge line further maybe peeling. Machines trying to sidestep out of the outrage stun. No, gets rooted in place for a quick second there. And has to flash over the wall, but out comes the bear, is mauling his enemies. Outrage with the kill. Here comes the feathers.
That is a lot of damage.
Great ultimate for Team 1. They're making it work. Paladin with the kill. Flash over for the outrage. He goes down. Still, trades are happening. Double kill for the Victor. He's still fully online. He's trying to fight for this. AP Buggy. Let's see if he's going to rocket grab. That's going to be the inhibitor down for TNT as they are kind of cornered back under those two turrets. Nexus is a possibility here as Rosemary and Solanka, they're doing a lot of damage. They're going to break free though. Scot-free, they go out. Solanka going to be alive. What a great turn of events. I mean, Team 1 absolutely finding the plays there based off of AP Buggy, and this guy has been possibly and arguably the MVP of this game.
Yeah, the Saya may be the one that is super fed, but it's thanks to this Blitzcrank. If the Blitzcrank doesn't do what he did in the laning phase, and then what he has been doing in the game, keeping the pressure up. Oh wait, Saya? She's alone here, no ultimate.
Oh, no, my goodness, finally.
That could be Baron.
That could be Baron, as you see Machine is looking for a dredge line here. AP Buggy gets that movement speed. It's going to be slowed down, and maybe he's going to meet Orkazo on the runaway. The dredge line missed by an inch, but AP Buggy stepped back in. That could have been his doom as Rocket Grab not going to land the target. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's alone there fighting a one-man army. Is joined by Outrage, but Baron is a possibility here for both teams as they're grouping up. You see the vision clear. Outrage does spot.
They have now begun it. Oh wait, the ulti?
Yeah, Voidcraft's
but just keep doing it. He just committed ultimate.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not committing on the Baron.
What?
They try to cheese some little cheese.
Says
that could be the blunder. I don't know what they're going for here. What's the game plan? Orkazo is in the bush trying to find a player off guard, but they did get off the Baron. Are they going to commit this time around as Outrage is coming here? Here is the collapse. Orkazo's going to delete it 2 seconds, and Voidcraft going to get rooted in place. Stasis a huge ultimate coming through. Only hits one target. Outrage gets knocked off on that dredge line as well. The ultimate Death Rocket does connect. Here comes the other target. Zaya does not get a kill, and that's a double so far as the rest of the Team 1 are trying to make a break for it. You see Yodeler goes golden. Barely surviving that. He is alive, and they do secure the Baron. TNT, they are ahead in terms of getting the plays, in terms of getting the Baron. They're looking good.
Yeah, and apart from the Fiora dumbly dying, oh wait, Pancakes?
Oh man, no, not like this.
Pancakes. Yeah, I think he can run away, yeah. It's okay.
He can run away.
But Dragon up in 30 seconds, so stopping the Nunu can be good, but I think they should realistically be able to contest this. But the Fiora dies really dumbly in that fight. You don't need to force this. You can just secure the entrance without ultimate. The Fiddlesticks shouldn't be able to do anything. You just need to stay to ward and then run into your team. That's it. But the Saya dying there crucial pick from Orcasa on the Fiora to get that pick and then move into the Baron. It took them some time, but they realized that they could do it. They get the Baron, and now they can contest for this Dragon better. Jinx 3 items, Victor 4 items, and they have every member up to be able to fight this. The Fiora just goes for the split pushing, which makes sense, but as long as they don't get corralled or anything like that, they should be able to secure this. Oh wait, Fiddlesticks ulti.
Oh, Fiddlesticks over the wall, does not secure the dragon, and that is the soul point for TNT. But look at Vladimir damage. Oh my goodness, here comes 80 carry trying to Jinx do something, but she's dead as a doornail back to the fountain. But on the flip side though, Fiora is still alive, as well as Nunu. Can they hold off a 4-man, a 5-man push? Trying to end the game. Team 1 may be able to close it out here. They don't have ultis. Vladimir does have an ultimate, but I don't know what Nunu is doing. She's trying to ult the wave. That is good. But TP play coming through. Pancakes is the last line of defense. Orcazo, never mind. That is the last line of defense. This might be it, ladies and gentlemen. Team 1, they have been making it work, and that is the ace. Ladies and gentlemen, series best of 3 first game winners are going to be Team 1. You don't always win your battles, but it's good to know you fought. Man, TDS, what the heck was that?
It felt like maybe TNT was going to be able to pull it off, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They are not able to pull it off. And I gotta say, the continuation from 20 minutes forward, it felt like it was really well played by TNT, but at the last fight, there was no respect. I'm going to put it out like that. There was zero respect for the Fiddlesticks. And the Fiddlesticks just jumped in. They didn't get the Drake, yes, but who cares? If you don't respect the Fiddlesticks, you're going to get feared because there's no vision of the Fiddlesticks, which means that you are going to not be able to fight that fight effectively. And because they didn't respect that, they didn't either respect the Vladimir going in. They weren't able to fight that. It was really easy for the side of T1 to force the fight, and they are able to clean it up. We need to remember it was a 4v5 because the Fiora wasn't a part of that at any point. And because of that, they still committed for the fight. The idea of going for the Drake is okay if you're able to burst it out, which with a Nunu makes sense. But if you're going to burst it out, then just run away. Because if not, you lose that fight. And we saw what happened. They lost the game. Yeah. I think that TNT were just 2 steps far from being able to take it and being able to play the game correctly at that point. But it was T1's tenacity that at the end of the day makes them be able to take the win.
Tenacity at the end of the day. And maybe we could take a look at the damage here if observers are can show us the advanced graphs, maybe to be able to look at the damage. Oh my goodness, you got Xayah doing a lot of that damage, and just look at the amount of carry Victor did try, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. Yeah. It was not enough because of the early lead, because of that team fight. The 4v5 was a bit weak. I think next game they should just ditch. TNT should ditch the idea of a Fiora, of a split top lane. They should just go for the 5v5, because I think if they had drafted that, they would have
probably win.
Yeah, they probably would win. Yeah, that's the kind of like the hindsight 2020, right? Laugh on the wrong side of the face when you just find out you could have won. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Game 2 in the best of 3 series. Welcome back to what it seemed like a very good first game for both teams. Not gonna lie, there was some ups and downs. TNT
Yeah.
versus Team One, and like always, quick introductions. My name is Proof. I do cast daily, and I stream on Twitch most of the time. And I am joined here with TDS. TDS, how's it going? Or Thomas, right?
No,
Or Carlos.
it's Carlos. Yeah.
Carlos, yes. Carlos here on the casting desk. How you feeling, man, after that first game?
Well, what can I say? It was really exciting. I really, at the end, thought that TNT was going to be able to take it. So I think it was kind of obvious that I was kind of surprised that it didn't happen. But giving complete credit to T1, they understood how they needed to play. And if we didn't make it enough, or if we didn't make it as noticeable as possible, AP Bucky was really, really carrying that game as the Blitzcrank with his hooks, with his positioning, giving the kills and helping his team. Like overall, really great performance by him. And I think you mentioned it. I think for me, he was the MVP of the first game. And I'm really excited to see if they ban away the Blitzcrank since it had so much of an impact, and what we will see now from T1 if they are going to adapt or change anything, and if TNT will ban away or change anything from the previous game.
Yeah, I think TNT, like you said, you actually said it very good there. TNT maybe wanting to change that top lane, I think, because of, I guess, the disadvantages that comes with being a split push top lane, right? You always are kind of gonna be away, is you're gonna put your team at risk of a 4v5 all the time. And when
Yeah.
that happens, right, what's the best thing to do right now? I mean, if they could just draft another tank, maybe an Ornn even would be good, right? Or what should they do in the second game, knowing that that was kind of their disadvantage?
I, I think ideally, like you're saying, the tank would be the best change. Or if you're going to change something, then a top laner that can join fights from a flank. Because realistically, it's not a bad idea to have a tank, but there's champions like the Kennen, for example, that even though they are in tanks, they work way, way better teamfight wise. So it makes complete sense to just maybe see the change there. And we see the Blitzcrank Bang, the Victor as well. It had such a good, huge impact in the previous game. So it makes complete sense that we're seeing taken away. And my main thing with the Fiora, much more so than the fact that she was never there for fights, was that TNT realistically didn't play like they had a Fiora. So it just doesn't really make sense that you're drafting a Fiora if you're not going to utilize her to the best capabilities that she has and play with the rest of the team as you'd have a Fiora. So if it's like going to be like that, I'd much rather, like you're saying, have a team fight top laner that will allow you to play much better with the rest of them. And they go for the Nuno again.
Yeah, it just looks like a Mumu Cassiopeia Victor being banned for T1. They are going to go with Fiddlesticks here. Interesting, as the first pick, we saw how much work, what was his name? Void did. You know, he was putting a lot
Yeah.
of work here on the map. He did, I think, kind of bunch of ganks, but he was quiet in the team fights. He really shined. So I think this could be another
Oh.
possibility where Team 1 are going to take away the team fights. And now Lulu being covered. Oh, we got debated. We got you, beta Carlos. Nuno
Yeah,
and
it
Williams
goes
is going to be the
and
first pick. What do you think of the picks so far? It's a bit odd they went Rakan second. Are they going to draft Zaya and Rakan this time around when
it,
Blitzcrank is not available?
if it was a Saya, then it makes sense. I think that it also has to do with having follow up for the Fiddlesticks, because one of the things that I feel like kind of made them really hard to play the previous game, even though we credit the Blitzcrank a lot, and it was a really great pick early on and in the later stages of the game as well. You had the Fiddlesticks going in alone. And that is really hard to play around because Fiddlesticks wanted to force a lot of engages and a lot of fights, but without the correct follow up, it was really easy to burst him out, seclude, made him be secluded, and then kill
Hmm.
him. And I think
Hmm.
that the side of T1 kind of realizes and wants to have much more engaged with the Fiddlesticks to be able to play around the fights. But now TNT answers with a Jhin Nami. I'm not sure if I'm super happy with this. Not because the Jhin and Nami are are bad champions, but against such a heavy engage from the Fiddlesticks and the Rakan, the Jhin and the Nami may be sitting ducks. So it's going to be interesting. But one of the things that Nami does have is great denials for engagers because of her tidal wave. So if the Nami TNT is able to play really well around the Nami and her ultimate, they can win fights really effectively. But now TNT also needs a really heavy damage dealer in the mid lane or in the top lane because Jhin is much more of a supportive AD carry than a continuous damage AD carry.
Yeah, I want to see what outrage here goes because as we're seeing the
Yeah.
second phase bans coming through, top lane is going to be where it's at as well as the Tantrums haven't decided to pick a top laner yet. I want to see what they decide to go with because that was kind of their problem, right? They wanted to decide to go for a split push and then put, the Fiora kind of took a long time to see effects. You see the Vladimir ban as well as the Oriana ban off the table. Pancakes is on Nunu again. I don't know how this pick really worked for them, but it was give and take, right?
Yeah, I think it wasn't a bad pick overall. I think that he had really good ganks early on to try and put pressure on the lanes, but the fact that the bottom lane was so far behind kind of made him had to put a little bit of focus there. And when he went there, he just ended up dying. So it never turned into the actual Nunu power that you typically see
Mhm.
going for camps, going for early Drakes and things like that. So I think that in this game, if they have priority in the bottom lane, they have better lanes that don't lose that easily, then they can probably pull it off. And now we see the Camille. Camille was banned in previous game, so it's going to be interesting seeing how T1 plays with this champion. And I think it adds even much more to the Fiddlesticks dive with the Racket. So overall, I really like what T1 are drafting for themselves. The Shen coming through, I'm
Oh,
not
I
against
kind of
it
like,
against the Camille. Hmm?
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think about the Shen versus the Camille? I mean,
Oh,
Camille feels a little bit more like that late game team fight, wants to go all out. Shen as well is kind of that more tanky. There's tankiness to him, right? TNT are
ooh,
drafting a little bit
Sidra.
more balanced in terms of squishiness. Don't you think T1 are a bit more squishy?
They are really squishy. That is true. The Camille, even though kind of goes into the tankier side, she's certainly not the tankiest champions. I think that Camille pairs up really well with the idea of wanting to go in with the Fiddlesticks and the Rakan. So overall, I like the pick. So I'm not completely against it. In terms of the matchup against the Shen, I think that it's not a bad matchup for the Camille, and it's not a matchup for the set. You have to play according to what both of these champions do. You have to play around the Shen's shroud when you're as the Camille to try and get as much damage as possible. And as the Shen, you have to play around the shield, the passive shield, as well as the hookshot. If you're able to do these things, then you can try and get an advantage there, but it can be really hard. So it's going to be an interesting top lane. And now with the Diana last pick, it just cements the idea from T1, forcing team fights around objectives and utilizing your ultimates to get the advantage as possible. The Jinx is a much better insurance policy than the Saya in terms of consistent damage. But the idea is Fiddlesticks, Camille, Diana, and Rakan going in and exploding the targets.
Yeah, speaking of exploding the targets, I want to point out something very specific, right? Orkazo is still drafting that split push comp, but this time has team fight ability. With that stand united, Shen could
Yeah.
split push, Shen could be in team fights, Shen could do it all. And I do like this improvement for Orkazo. I think they will reap the benefits of having Shen on the team versus the Fiora because Fiora cannot readily just be available at all times if he does not have the TP, right? And of course,
Yeah.
going back to the mid lane dynamic, this time it's a bit different. We're not seeing the tanky mid lanes, we're not seeing the Victor, although we are seeing a control mage for Yolaler. Is he able to put the same performance that he did on Victor against the mid laner? I'm possibly saying, I mean, of course, it might be Diana jungle and Fiddlesticks mid, they could flex
I
that, but
hope they don't pull that off.
I hope they don't pull that off.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? So I'm assuming Rosemary is going to be on that Diana. Of course, it's going to pose a question, right? A little bit different dynamic for Team One. They're not as tanky as they were first game, and I think Tantrums have a little bit more team fight this time around. What are your thoughts?
I think T1 has a clear identity. I think that in the previous game and this game have shown what they like to play around and what they need to draft. Like you're saying, I think that this time around TNT adapted themselves a little bit better with the Shen to try and have the split push potential, but also the stand united to go for fights. What I'm really scared about with TNT's composition, though, is the fact that they have the Shen to go for team fights really well, and it can be effective. But the Shen Stand United, you typically want to use it with a diver to get the extra, not only the shield damage, the shield potential, but also getting on top of the backline. But in this game, apart
Hmm.
from the Nunu, there's no champion that wants to really go in. And realistically, Nunu is not a champion that gets a lot of effective damage onto the backline. Like, if you're able to get a huge snowball down and then be able to get your full combo down onto the carry, yes. But it's really easy to deny the Nunu. And if you as the Nunu go way too far forward with the Shen Stand United, yes, that's good. But look at T1's composition. They have a Fiddlesticks, a Rakan, and a Diana, and a Camille. Like they don't care if you go really far in because if they get their ultimates, can give them access to the backline of your team. So realistically, they don't care that much about the Nunu and the Shen, as they can get their ultimates down to get on top of the Jin, the Nami, and the Syndra. And these three champions are not mobile enough, which means that if they
Yeah.
don't have flash, they can really get easily bursted out, and the fight can just go in the favor of Team One. So even though it is a really huge burden of execution on the side of TNT, they have champions that can carry the game, but I just feel like T1 just by the way that they play and how they play in the previous game, I think they can take it.
Mm. Interesting point, because I also want to add on top of that, or maybe go a little bit off topic, is
Yep.
seeing the Jin here, right? Too legit. It's Swag YOLO. That's kind of a nice user, Dave. There, he's gonna be piloting the Jin. Obviously, seeing the Jinx on the other side of the rift, that was what he was playing the first game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a change of pace, because Jin really is good when she could get that 4 items. I think Jin, on the other hand, is a bit different. You always want to be on the back line. It just depends how good, at this point, you know, Machine is in terms of peeling for Jin, in terms of having him really in the back line, not worried to get engaged on, because as we
Yeah.
pointed out, there's a possibility of Voidcraft just diving into the back line with the Fiddlesticks ultimate, Zonia's, and then he's just going to be kind of a menace for Too Legit to deal with. In that point, what do you think team fights, where is it going to be at? What are we going to have to look out in the team fights here?
I think for T1 is pretty straightforward is press R and try and kill people. I think for the side of TNT is much more separated in terms of how they need to play this, because they need the Nunu and the Shen to always keep track of the members from the side of T1. So those two are the ones that are going to buy the space and the time for the Syndra and the Jin with their range to be able to play the fights. And the Nami is there to mainly buff up champions so that they don't die as quickly as possible, and the tidal wave to dissuade engages. Those are the main ideas from TNT. So they need to play this they need to play this slowly, and like in a ladder, they need to take the correct steps to be able to play it. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be much the burden of execution can be much harder for the side of TNT than it is for T1. But if they're able to play long fights and the ultimates are down, they have a lot of damage to be able to take down the squish targets. And I think this is the main point that TNT has to look forward to. The fact that even though there's a lot of ultimates that can be used for engaging and has a lot of burst potential, there's no realistic tank in the side of T1, which means that Jin and Syndra get a lot of value because their kits are built to explode squishy targets. So
Yes.
there's possibility there. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that they need the correct build up and the correct steps to be able to pull it up. Meanwhile, T1 is just go in, press R, brrr, and it all goes boom. Pretty much.
It all goes boom. I want to also point out that without the tankiness we're talking about here, whoever has thick skin, whoever could survive the burst damage, whoever could survive that initial explosive team fight,
Yeah.
which is going to be, I think I'm swayed towards more the tantrums here, as they do have Yoler on the Syndra, despite being a squishy member, could really be good against other squishy members, right? As well as having the jungle on Pancakes, who's playing Nunu, rather tanky, right? I didn't pay attention
Yeah.
to the build last time, because we have been seeing the resurgence of kind of that AP build for Nunu, but we might expect the tanky build this time around, right? We're not going to expect anything off meta there. Of course, we did point out the team fights, we did point out all those, but last 30 seconds, TDS, for maybe your final predictions, as I do allow the audience at home or watching in the chat, spam who you think is going to win. If you don't spam, it's all good. We're just trying to see what you guys think in terms of draft, and as well as TDS. You could take it away. You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty. I'll just leave it with this. I think that T1 will take it. The
Uh-huh.
previous game, they played really effectively with their composition. They drafted something really similar. And I think that this time around, they have even better team fight engage that they have previously. So I think that overall, they should be able to play around this. And if they are able to have a stable laning phase and then a continuation of the game, they should be able to take this game.
All right, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say that Tantrums, if they are
Oh,
able to make that Stand United work in the early game, because their bot lane kind of needs that. We saw that early game in the first game. It was kind of not looking good because the rocket grabs. Maybe
yeah.
Shen could alleviate some of that pressure over in the bot lane this time around. So with that said, we're gonna go, I guess, on a short break. We'll be right back with the games, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. It's gonna be the second game, the best of series between T1 versus TNT. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to what it is the second game between these two teams. The first one, which was secured by Team 1. And now TNT have an uphill battle to fight, but maybe they can make it happen. As before we dive into the game, I am Proof. My name is Proof, and I'm here today for Risen Esports for Open Rampage, and I'm joined here with TDS. How's it going, man? We talked a lot before the game. What are a couple of things we want to point out here before the game starts?
First, level 1s. Sadly, this time around there wasn't a cheesy or sneaky level 1 to try and pull something off, which is something that I always try to advocate for because I think that it's one of the most important things in the games. But it makes some sense that most teams don't want to try and maybe lose the game in a level 1, so it's completely fine. But it's a 5-point for each team, trying to keep vision control, not wanting anything to go badly. And then much more directly into specific points, I wanted to touch on two things. First, the mid lane, that this time around they gave Jolteler another winning lane. So they are at least giving your potential best player, based on how he played in the previous game, a really good matchup and really good potential to be able to get this lane. Obviously, if he missteps against this Diana with Ignite, and when she reaches level 6, she can die. But realistically, Jolteler has been playing really well, so I wouldn't expect that to happen. And then my second main point, the bottom lane. Based on how they played the previous game, I'm really scared because this time around they got a winning lane, and if they are not able to execute with a winning lane, then it can be really bad or really bad news for the side of TNT.
Yes. TNT, they have, in order to summarize that real quick, you got looking over the mid lane here, Yoler is going against the Diana, which is going to be a winning lane for him, but does not have the Ignite compared to Rosemary, who is kind of forgetting about that TP. I'm not going to go for the team fights, I'm going to go for the solo kill in the mid lane, and we'll see what's going to happen there. Track record shows that Yoler is able to carry. He just needs that extra tankiness in his team. That extra tankiness is going to be located over the top side here, or Kazo on that 1v1 against the Camille. As we pointed out over the bot lane as well, the Jhin should win that lane.
Yeah, it should happen like that. Oh, wait a
minute, huge stun over the top.
Another solo kill.
Solo kill possibly here with the flash all out. Is he able to commit? And it is going to be the kill. First blood goes over to TNT.
Yeah, and it's second game in a row. Oh, wait, maybe bottom lane?
Bottom lane, they're dancing around each other for a little bit. Jinx trying to do some damage. Exhaust coming through here. Paladin gets rooted in place. Is still doing a lot of damage to Flash. And AP Buggy.
He got it.
Helps the kill. Paladin gonna secure
on the knock-up.
The knock-up. So clutch. That's the double. But instantly traded. 2-for-1 in the bot lane.
Camille TP'd as well.
Top lane. Camille is TPing there in the middle of two people. The Flash. Flash. Why was he using the Flash? Pancakes under the turret. Tanking that tower aggro. Outrage is going to survive, but oh my goodness, bloody start to the 2v2.
Yeah, and I don't know where, I'll start first on the top lane. Once again, Orcaso getting a solo kill onto Outrage, 2 games in a row, really well played by him. And once again, I think that Outrage didn't play that as effectively as possible, not utilizing his W to get the extra healing, as well as this low with the outer range. And it means that now the trading damage from the Shen was really well executed, and they get a lot of out of it. Oh wait, Outrage
tank top lane running down on the Achilles heel. It is going to be the Camille without a flash, without a TP. Goes back to the fountain. 0-2 on the scoreboard. In total, though, it is 3-2 in favor of TNT. They got a little bit of goal in their pockets as well.
Yeah, but I think that this can be bad, but based on previous game, the bot lane is winning. And I think that's way much more important, because realistically, this game, even if Camille doesn't get a massive advantage, as long as she can press R with and follow up the Fiddlesticks under a can, she's doing a good job. And the bottom lane, it happened what we were thinking. Oh wait, Jolteler?
Yoler here is kind of dancing around against the opponent's gonna flash under a turret. Is
teleport from the Shen as well.
Shen is teleporting in the middle of there, may be looking good with a taunt, comes through, and that is gonna be the kill. He picks it up.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why they try to overcommit that. Like, I like the gank attempt, but realistically, even if you are able to get anything out, the Syndra still has teleport. So if she's not going to die, you're not going to get that much. That gank doesn't end up working, and teleport from Orcaso secures the kill. And this time around, the early game from the side of TNT, a little bit better, being able to move around everywhere, not giving away unnecessary kills. And oh wait, ooh, really nice block.
Beautiful setup for the gank, but a great block.
AP Walkie.
Pancake gets rooted in place. You see Machine is kind of already extending a little bit there, but just decides not to pull the trigger. You see the Rakan was playing a little bit back. Great counter to that gank.
Yeah.
And still forward to slight lead to TNT.
AP Woki played that as well as he could. Blocked the snowball with his mobility, is able to come back into the Jinx, and nothing bad happens. Overall, the laning phase going really well for the Jinx and Rakan. Although, wait.
The double knockout from Nami gonna force out the W from the Rakan. It's just a dance between the cat and mouse here. I don't know what to further elaborate here, because we're seeing a lot of time wasted by Pancakes. He's just hanging out there, and what is just so much time wasted in jungling. He was just hanging out, seeing if he's gonna get a kill twice. The gank fails, so I would say Fiddlesticks is just gonna get way ahead of Nunu here, as Voidcraft, you see 40 CS to only 24 on Pancakes.
Yeah, look, now the Fiddlesticks is super happy because now he can keep up his pace. He's going to keep on farming, and even though the blunder happened in the mid lane, it doesn't affect the Fiddlesticks that much because of what happens in the bottom lane. So it's really important that the bottom lane was able to buy that much time with the Nunu down there, and they don't die. I think that is a really important thing to keep in mind.
That's huge. That is definitely huge. And now level of disadvantage on our Rage. This could be another solo kill. Shen is he gonna go for the taunt here, or Kazo is playing it safe, a little conservative. He is realizing that the jungler is missing. Anywhere it could be Voidcraft out of the bush, so he's not spotted. But if you pay attention close to the map, you see that Voidcraft is actually trying to do the bot side neutral objective, which is going to be the first dragon, and that's going to be an Ocean.
The Nunu failed. Yeah, and now coming here, doesn't have flash. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, Pancakes was trying to just get them off the objective, but still you see the rest of the gang is here on the side of
Diana.
And Diana, great Lunar Rush. Is he going to pull off something here? Rosemary in the front line taking a lot of that damage. So close, and yet so far Jinx is going to be able to get one. But instantly, two trades come through Orkaza with a great stand. United Ultimate turning things around. Voidgraph on the runaway. It's not going to break it scot-free when you're gunning against Yoler there. Just going to bite the dust. There it is, 8-3. TNT not only get the kills, but they do secure the objective as well.
Yeah, and not gonna lie, I cannot 100% blame the side of T1 for going for the dragon, because they had priority on the lane and they had the jungler there. I think the more surprising thing is the awful pathing from Pancakes, because why was he in bot lane? Like, he just cleared Crocs into waiting there in the bot lane to try and do something. He's now going for his camps, but realistically, if the side of T1 doesn't die there, then that is such a huge play for T1, because Pancakes would have been so far behind, and he cannot do anything to come back. So luckily it works out, but if not, that could have been detrimental for TNT.
That could be detrimental. TNT, they are ahead and they are steamrolling 4-0-2 on the Shen. Orkazo must be feeling good. A lot different performance than the Fiora. Now he has more use, more needed in the team. The Stand United is not here to come around. Shen is not here to help you. The flashes followed up. Jinx tried to go for it, but the question mark emote thrown there. Here comes
and now you don't have flash.
And there is no way you can get out of this one. If Nunu gets close just a little bit, game of inches, as Machine's going to close out that distance with the kill, putting themselves at a reverse carry here. The supporter with 3 kills, 0 kills on Jhin.
Yeah, if you're going to flash there as the I don't know about this.
Orkazo in a bit of a trouble. But yeah, the flash was a little bit of an interesting play on the side of Paladin Slanka.
Yep, to not say the least. And I think that it's not a bad flash if you flash the bubble immediately and then follow up to kill the Jhin. But he flashed after getting bubbled, so you don't get any value. It's actually just completely useless, that flash at that point, and it meant that the gank coming from the Nunu could be much more effective. I think this game, it's similar to the previous game in the sense that Orkazo, mainly alone, has been winning this lane. But the difference from the previous game is the fact that even though he won this lane, he can impact the rest of the map as well, being a Shen with the Stand United and Teleport. And that way, the Nunu can just focus wholeheartedly on bot lane like we have seen, and he can just win the lane for the Jhin and the Nami that way, without actually having to worry about the top lane.
Worrying up about the top lane. I mean, they don't need to worry about the Nami bot, who has 3 kills. I don't know why they're giving away the kills to Nami, but she is making it work though. You know, still has possibility to help out the Jin who has 5 assists. I'd rather see more kills gone towards the AD carry. Who wouldn't, right? So Paladin on the other side in the bot lane, you see the 3 kills on the Jinx, completing half of that item towards the Kraken Slayer. It's going to be really useful against the Shen. Or Kazo on the top lane has some competition here. Speaking of competition, Rosemary here in the mid lane. Excuse me, he's gonna flash away out of the hands of Nunu there. Looked kind of promising for Nunu, but Pancakes is gonna live to fight another day.
Yeah, Pancakes being much more aggressive, being able to utilize those ganks really effectively. The Rift Herald going on top lane, at least giving a gold into the Camille, and it's getting a lot of value with this. I really like that they use the Rift Herald as soon as possible on the top lane, but oh, Camille is dead.
Camille got a hook shot.
Oh wait, that wasn't enough?
Oh, now she's gonna flash away. Gets out of there scot-free with just flash. Is gonna be taxed. 3-9. Scoreline not looking that pretty for Team 1 as they try to make something happen over in the bot lane. AP Buggy is gonna get the charm on the machine, who does use the knock-up, and back goes Rakan. Yoler here on the 1v2, making it work. Here comes a curtain call. Opera show. Take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. This is post-COVID concert performed by 2 legit swag YOLO. Over in the bot side, he does have the W. We're gonna go all out here. Maybe the re-engage. You got the exhaust coming through. Machine doing a lot of damage as well as the knock-up. Wait a minute. Solo, YOLO, not doing it. No solo bolo here in the bot lane. As a 2v2 is always really interesting to watch who they focus on. It's a back and forth tug of war. No mana on 2 legit. Nunu again camping here. Set up a tent over here in the bot lane or what? Every time I see Nunu, they're in the bot lane.
Yeah, he seems like he likes bot lane a lot. He probably likes Nami or something like that, or the Drakes. Who knows? Like, I just don't know. But every time we pan onto the Nunu, he's always here.
Yeah. I don't know about the Jin ultimate there too. It didn't look promising as we backtrack our way. It seemed like to miss the important shots. That looked like a kill there, if I'm not mistaken, but
yeah,
it just didn't pan out for the Jin. Of course, Nami did a little bit of a tango dance with AP Buggy, but no play to be had after that. You see the top lane, Stand United, is available on the Shen, but he just has to go to lane because the pressure is surmounting there, and he's getting pushed under the lane. Or Kazo, it's doing a lot of damage. I like the Shen pick here, and it's been super good for Team TNT.
Yeah.
As Team 1, they're still trying to... They're scrapping for an answer.
Yeah, also quick, just little thing about the Camille. I don't know why she's building Triforce. If I'm not wrong, that is the Triforce build, not the Divine Sunderer. And Divine Sunderer is way better against the Shen, and it gives you much more impact in split pushing. So just a little thing, I really don't like that build, but it's just a thing for me. And now Nunu with the bot lane able to secure this Drake. The bottom lane was back previously, the Jinx and the Rakan back previously, which means that the opportunity to go for the Drake was much more easier for the side of TNT and ganking the top lane. I'm not sure if you can get this against such a tanky champion.
Oh, but the TP play now turning around the 2v2 hook shot out of that distance. Voidcraft is going to flash away in turn. You see Yoler is on the chase, does get the stun, and this could be promising. Does have the ultimate available as well.
Nice.
Sonya has great timing by Voidcraft to buy himself some time. As
maybe get this. Oh, Stand United.
The ultimate. What is happening here? Stand United is going to go all out. The Shen exhaust. He is actually just making it.
They didn't get it. Oh, that is so lucky.
Finally. That is very, very lucky. You see Pancakes in the mid lane roaming his way into what it seems like a level 2 disadvantage fight. He's not looking to favor him.
Doesn't win this.
Ultimate though. Maybe he can win it. Oh, she is dead as a doornail there. There it is, Pancakes with the first kill on the board.
Yeah, and 2 things. That's first of all, that is why Diana should take teleport, not ignite. Because if you are able to go topside, you probably win that fight in the 3v1, in the 3v2. But without Diana, they end up losing with a kill that could have been so close. Oh, Rakan.
Speaking of a kill, Nunu, Nunu is a camper here over in the pod side. Paladin Slugger has nowhere to go. Shen is going to pick up that kill. Roscoe, 6-0-2. This guy has been having a perfect game so far. 13-3 overall. TNT is the name so far that you want to remember. In the early game dominance from them, they look really good.
Yeah, and we were talking about exploding and being able to kill the champions on a team from the side of T1, but in reality it's the Dynamite TNT that are able to pull it off, and we have been seeing this early game has been so good from the side of TNT, going where they need to, doing what they need to, and playing really well overall. I think the main change, the Shen coming through in this game, made this game way easier to be able to pull off than the previous game, because now he can impact the rest of the map with the advantage that he alone got in the top lane. And that also means, like we were saying previously, that Pancakes can set up a temp in the bot lane and help the bottom lane be able to win, because if not, it kind of was bad. But oh wait, Rosemary?
Yoler here, setting up for the fight. Rosemary wants to go all out. Maybe before she dies, she wants to get a kill, but it's not going to be the dream, my friend. Gets set back to the fountain. Yoler is having another perfect game. A lot of things to watch out for on this side. They look stacked. Look at that Sidra with 129 CS, 3-0 and 3. It sounds like an area code here, man. Like an area code.
This just feels like the first game, but with better champions to play around and playing to a better style. Like overall, this just seems like TNT understood what they needed, understands what they need to do, playing around what they need to do, and executing to a certain degree. It's also going to be a Mountain Soul, which means that this is probably the best soul that they can get, and the champions like the Shen, the Nunu, can get much more tanky and much harder to kill, and also the Jhin, the Nami, and the Syndra can maybe survive the initial burst from the side of T1 with these extra resistances.
You see that? Speaking of pressure, there's no TP available on the side of TNT, so maybe this is the opportunity for T1 to make a play here, as they are going to go for it. Over the wall they come. Outrage is here as well. We talked about TP advantage.
Maybe. Oh no.
Oh, Hextech Ultimatum wasn't really good there, was it? And at the price they pay, they're gonna lose their support.
Oh, Jesus!
No, Roscoe is she's not looking that good with the taunt and knock up there with the W from Nunu. She's gonna be history. In the meantime, though, mid lane it's very vulnerable. Outrage is the only one standing between them and taking the turret. As here comes Fiddlesticks over the wall. Great ultimate in the back line. Maybe Voidcraft could do something here.
Oh
as
no!
Is still intact. That's not gonna be a kill. They only lose Yodeler. That's a huge shutdown. So kill does.
It wasn't a shutdown.
Game one. It was an execute?
Yeah.
It was, oh no way, that was a huge execute there. Then nice, Yoler is still playing perfectly here. Kind of a perfect game. There it is, the Herald is summoned. It's going to take this turret to pieces. Are they going to commit here is the question. They should, but AP Buggy going to go for it.
Yeah, yep. I'm not sure about that. And in the bot lane, we saw the Diana going for the solo kill against the Jhin, but Jhin survives. And Diana didn't have Ignite either, so she couldn't get the solo kill. So all over the map, it goes way in favor of TNT. And this game just feels so lopsided at this point. Like, I don't know what T1 can do, apart from just buying time and going for a specific picks. Try and keep the game going, because if not, it's going to be really hard. Like, Nunu is super far ahead, Shen is super far ahead, Syndra is super far ahead, the Jhin is serviceable, and the Nami is also serviceable. So realistically, what weak points do you actually see that can get advantage by T1? It's not something that I think can do, and Diana is not even coming to this fight.
Yeah, Diana is not coming to this fight. She is 0-4. She's over that top side. Could be an easy take on the objective. The ultimate use from Nami there. Orozco going to go for the Shenton and does not find the target. There it is. Blue team does secure the drag. That's the third one for them. It's going to put them at a solo point. I also want to talk about how now Yodeler has a TP up, so they could technically force a Baron fight in 2 minutes, as well as it's going to get spun under 2 minutes. We could see a possible fight there because they're so far ahead. They should be, bullying T1 on the map, left and right, posing questions, posing threats, Baron take, objective takes. Turret count is looking good too, 2-1. They could still snowball from that as well. My question, or rather my observation, is towards Outrage and how he actually played that mid lane skirmish. We talked about Buggy over the wall. It looked promising, did have a TP advantage, and they went for it. But what went wrong for them there? Because it kind of looked like they had it planned. It was just clumsy, maybe. It was unpolished. What really went wrong there in the mid lane?
I think the main problem was the gold lead. The fact that they don't have the damage nor the experience to be able to back up a play like that was really detrimental, because that engage normally can work against the Syndra if you're able to kill her before she's able to do anything, or against the Nami as well. They are two squishy champions. So wait, maybe this is a really good pick if they get it. Oh,
here
dear
comes
son,
Curtain
yes.
Call Opera Show. There it is. Yoler is going to flash out at the distance there, but great Hextech Ultimate right in the middle of the fight.
Oh,
Nami with
no.
the 2 knock up there. Huge Nami MVP type play, but the double kill is going to go to Yoler. He is unstoppable. This man is the main carry for TNT, and he's causing havoc on the Rift. You don't always win your battles, but it's good to know that you fought. I think that's what T1 maybe could reconcile after this, as they are so far behind in this game.
Yeah, and that play was one of the best possibilities to be able to come back into this game. Because that was not only really well executed with the Rakan going on to 2 of the most squishy champions, there was no members in close proximity apart from the potential Shen ultimate that we saw. But they cannot burst out the Syndra before she's able to use the Sonjas. With that, the Shen comes in and the fight just gets completely turned around. Like, if that situation doesn't work, which seems to be the best possibility for T1 to come back into the game, then I'm not sure if they are going to get another really huge chance. Maybe if Diana is there, they can pull it off. So I think there's a second opportunity with trying to play around the Diana. But if they go for a fight and the Diana is there and they don't win it, I think there's no chance.
Yeah, the Diana has been quiet. Everybody, in fact, has been quiet. Look at the score line on the side of Team 1, and this is not a pretty sight, as you don't want to see your carries, your solo lanes down such a deficit. 0-5 for the Camille and 0-4 for the Diana. Usually Diana, when she's behind, not one of those champions like Viego who does well from behind. You need to have resources on her to carry. A lot of players even want to go Darkseal just to get the stacks from that.
Yeah.
My point here is also to point out that Voidcraft, possibly setting up for nice ganks, nice flanks. Maybe they could bring like a surprise factor to the team fight, but there's so many things that could go wrong for them. You look at the Jhin, you're already scared. He's 2-1-8, completing the Gale Force. On top of that, Yoler, who's been able to survive all the fights, who's been able to flash away in time, position himself quite well, and a lot of peel from the Shen, a lot of peel from Pancake, and like I said, Aaron play. Voidcraft gonna optimistically take the route of aggression with the ultimate, and it's not gonna look back ever since that.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure about that ultimate.
Yeah, that ultimate is wasted now. So you're not going to have the Fiddlesticks ultimate. What are you going to have in a team fight? The Rakan ultimate maybe is good here still. The Moonfall combo with the Lunar Rush.
Okay, pick on the Syndra maybe?
Oh, this is a great pick. Yoler is outnumbered on the home turf. Despite that, though, he's doing a lot of damage. Might be able to get a kill.
This actually maybe great.
Turning things around as he can use Stand United. Here it comes. All the gang is here. Double kill for Urkazo as AP Bug is going to bite the dust over the wall. Everybody else is going to scatter in fear. Team 1, they're respecting. Actually, they're just afraid, outright afraid of TNT.
Yeah,
at this point.
It's just fear. It's pretty much just fear. And once again, it's the same problem with the last pick. Even though they get it this time because it was 4v1, you don't have enough damage to burst out the Syndra. And that is a huge problem. The Stand United came in way too late, and he still was able to complete. The Shen is able to come through, and he's able to clean the fight. I originally thought that this could be good, because it's you get the kill on the Syndra, and then you can move into the Shen. But the response for the rest of the team was almost immediate, and Shen realistically won't die that quickly, so it wasn't going to be that bad. Even though T1 is looking for avenues, they cannot get anything. And I gotta say it again, Diana is never close to the fight, so they never get any value from her. Or Castle, maybe?
Oh, I like
He's alone here.
Yeah, I like what T1 are doing here. Great optimism.
Diana!
Oh, wait a minute though, Diana is in the front.
Diana!
Huge shutdown. Wait a minute, backtrack it a little bit. Pancakes here as well with a great ultimate, but the last hurrah for him. Does a lot of damage, but it's not good. Finally, the reverse.
They came back.
Sweep. Oh my goodness, T1. I was actually a minute behind. I don't know how I caught up all of a sudden. A little bit of a lag on my end, but I do apologize. But a huge comeback here from T1. How did they even make it happen?
It's okay. I think that I got excited enough. But wow, that team fight went really well for T1, and it for me at least, it seems like it's a little bit of a blunder from the side of TNT, because the Shen was coming in alone. I think that, and we were talked about this, they need, even though they are super far ahead, and I still think that they can take it back because they are super far ahead, they need to take the team fights, the correct steps to play those team fights. and the correct steps are not going with the Shen completely blind and running away. But I gotta say, I didn't expect the amount of damage that the Camille and the Fiddlesticks did there. Oh wait, AP got the
what am I gonna go? Or Kazu
maybe
gets
not.
charmed. AP Buggy is gonna get away scot-free. Maybe just taxing the ultimate there.
Jinx are pushing bot lane.
Yeah, Jinx is split pushing. I don't know. I don't like AD carry split pushing that much because that's the job of the top laner or somebody else
agree with
at
that.
that point, right? But here, Jinx is a little bit optimistic, taking away a lot of that jungle camp from TNT. And in addition to that, I want to talk a little bit about what just happened here in terms of the bigger picture, because now, look at the kills, 23-9. But you take a look at the gold. You step aside and take a look at the gold. It's only 3K. It does not reflect that 23-9 kill mark. To me, still, I would say Team 1. Maybe they could bring it back. It's still winnable. I mean, I'm going to be that optimistic person and say they still got it going because of that silver lining they could have done for themselves through that ace.
That's why I never, and I agree with you, that's why I never want to call games over, because there's always human mistakes or human errors that you cannot calculate for, or things that you typically don't expect. So it's not correct to call games over, and T1 still has a chance. Like, we saw their teamfight going well there, and if they are able to get a, even if they don't burst out the Shen, but they get a really good teamfight again with Diana, Fiddlesticks, and Camille getting on top of the squishy carries and they delete them, it can be a really easy fight to win overall. So if they are able to replicate or create something really similar to the previous situation, they can probably take the game. And like you're saying, even though the difference in skills is so monumental, the fact of the matter was that because they got those skills there in the mid lane, and not only the kills but also the standing gold in the turrets, they were able to caught up in gold. It's just 3,000. Yeah, it's just 3,000 gold, and they can maybe come back into this game pretty effectively as well.
This is their ticket. This is their route. Let's see if they are
gonna
take it. It is their chance, and you don't want to lose the chance, like Eminem says. You know what I'm saying? You got only one chance to make it happen. You got to lose yourself doing that. You got Immortal Shield Bow completed on the Jinx 462. The death count is a bit high for an AD carry, but still 208 CS is pretty impressive. Was being able to split push a little bit here and there. Immortal Shield Bow is going to let her survive in team fights, so she does have a little bit of a team fight sustainability. She could look
Camille coming from behind.
Oh, Camille for the maybe gank, but decides to opt out. The hook shot over the wall, but this could be bad as the rest of the teams are collapsing. Here comes the Rakan Charm. Great setup for Team 1 in the Luna Rush combo. Jinx has
they get the double stun.
Huge picks for Team 1. They are out of nowhere flipping this game around. This is a brand new ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Yoler is going to go stasis and in turn go back to the fountain. 12-24, but look at the goal lead, only 2K difference, baby. Let's go Team 1. Out of nowhere, they're making a huge comeback. Although top lane shenanigans is happening, or Kazo, the third aggro, is gonna fend them off there. The huge stuff from
an important thing with the Shen being topside means that now they can push this wave. If he can stop this, okay, he will die, but they can get inhibitor because of this.
It is.
The Shen cannot do anything.
Look at the amount of sieging power they have. A lot of damage on the Jinx. Like we said, you know, if they're able to get the carries off the map, they're able to make them like go back to the respawn, wait for them to respawn, and they're able to get all these minute advantages, turning him into bigger advantages. And now you can see Shen is getting something for himself in the top lane. Turret finally falls, but at what cost? They just lost an inhibitor. They lost members of the team. Diana is getting back. She's 3, 4, and 5. Yodeler here.
Oh, he didn't get it.
Oh, Orkazo, man. He's really lucky this game. He's the main carry so far. Like 10, 1, and 7, not giving any gold away just yet. 150 bounty, 200 gold bounty on him.
But I don't like this from T1. The Drake is spawning in 20 seconds. Everyone was topside and they are trying to rush as quickly as possible, but they lose complete position and complete vision control of their jungler. So it's going to be really hard to be able to play this. I'm not sure if they can do this, and they also have the potential to burst the dragon out. So they need to be careful. Oh, Fiddlesticks. He doesn't have Sun Jazz.
Oh no, this is not looking good. But look at the Rakan Charm in the back line, and they get Rosemary very low enough to maybe finish her off there. And it is going to be the huge shutdown going
and they lost
to
the Drake as well.
They lost the Drake. That's going to be the soul. So TNT, they're not out of it just yet. They said you might be able to get the ace on us, but we're not going to
die here as well. I'm not. Yeah, Jinx dead.
Yeah, Jinx gets rooted in place with no other way to survive. Her flash was down, her heal was down, so she's gonna say goodnight. That might very well be another Baron here. as you see Pancakes making his way towards there.
I
Yeah,
don't know
not looking
what's
good
it.
for Team 1.
Yeah, I don't know what's it with wanting to just don't get the objectives correctly. Like you get a huge advantage, you have the chance to be able to turn the game completely around, and you decide to stick around to go kill a Shen that even if you kill him has teleport and stun united. So it's not like you get a complete advantage out of there. I think that the T1, if they just backed and went immediately for Drake, they have complete control of the area. They can look into getting in better position, and then they can force a fight much more effectively. Even if the Shen goes in, you can win that fight with your ultimate spot. They misplayed that. They ended up running just because, and ended up giving away not only the soul but the Baron as well. This is why we don't take away the opportunity for teams to come back, because things like this can happen. This is
Yeah,
looking really good for TNT. Now they have a lot of chances to be able to push forward and try and win the game through this. Although Shen is alone here and Camille and Diana are here.
oh, it looks like they're going to collapse on the side laner,
Oh.
or Kazo has some company.
Nobody's close by.
Two's company, three's a crowd over here, as you see Buggy as well. They're trying to charm W over the wall. They're going to find the pick. Huge shutdown.
Good
finally.
shutdown, yeah.
Yeah, Orkazo is dead as a doornail. I want to point out TNT. You know, this is a tug of war between Team 1 and TNT, and you take a look at the kills on the scoreboard. 10 kills for Syndra and 10 for Shen. And they're sharing like 50%, almost all of it, in terms of 28 out of that 28 total kills. They're kind of the majority shareholders, right? So they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders to make this happen, to bring the victory to them. And of course, Diana is not going out without a fight. She's going to split push here in the bot lane.
Although, yeah, too long maybe.
But at to what price? Huge cost. Going to flash over the wall.
Oh, even flashes out.
Yeah, Pancake's still looking for it. They're baying for blood here, but Outrage is going to pull off something with a hook shot over the wall. Pancake's in trouble. Going to flash out of there. Not the ultimate does not hit. Slanka has to watch out. Once she gets engaged on it, might be GG. She's going to be okay. But Outrage is taking a sweet time.
They really want to force this fight.
What is Outrage doing? Gonna go base check blindly into the team, but here comes Recon Charm. Triple knock-up, huge play for Team 1. Can they do it? Look at the HP bars, they're shredding like paper. Yodeler is doing a lot of damage in return, turning things around. TNT, they're still in it to win it, baby. 32-13, 59-54. They're not out just yet.
Yeah, and they tried to force that fight, and it looked like maybe they could pull it off, but first of all, you don't have crucial ultimates. The Camille didn't have Hextech, the Diana didn't have Moonfall, or if she used it, it was way too late. And crucially, much more so, the Fiddlesticks wasn't close by. He was completely in the top side. If you get that engaged with the Fiddlesticks, you probably win that fight so handily. But you need to fight as a 5-member core, not a 4v5.
Nope.
You're going to lose that. And T1 went for that fight and ended up just botching it. Luckily, it's not going to mean the game, because the inhibitor in mid lane was pushing and there weren't waves. Oh, wait.
But wait a minute. Ultimate.
Oh, he didn't get it.
He decides to take matters in his own hands. It's not going to be beneficial, though, as he does not find the kill. They're still chasing. It looks like Voidcraft not going to be happy with that ultimate, as he's been wasting the ultimate. He's been staying wasting those ultimates on the Fiddlesticks. When it matters, he doesn't have him. So it's kind of a question.
He's not there.
As to what's going on with you, Fiddle. You're doing good, my friend. Voidcraft. I mean, you got to go for those, right? You got to go for the all-in. It was very close to get that kill. AP Buggy, on the other hand, he's looking for maybe a double.
He really wants this.
Oh my god, he actually does go for the charm over the wall. I don't know what they're doing here. Is something in the air for Team 1? It looks like they're like in a rush, in a hurry to make something happen.
Yeah, they really want to force things for some reason. Like, I understand wanting to get picks on champions, but if you're not prepared to go for it, you're just going to end up getting destroyed. Oh, Nunu. Wait, Outrage?
For the long flank. Look at tension.
Oh, Outrage.
And nowhere out of that one. Say goodnight. Meteor Maker. Voidcraft over the wall. Finds the kill. Finds the picks and the fears, but it's not enough, as you see the Pancakes in the front line doing some damage. They're fending off the rest of Team 1 as they are going to go back. They lost their top laner, so they don't want to probably fight here as double TP plays. Not looking that good for AP Buggy. Do not commit, my friend, as we see the Elder right now is going to be a possibility on the map as bot side. Neutral objective is focal.
Rosemary did nothing to Orcaso there. Did no
Yeah,
damage.
no damage. When it
Oh
gets
yeah.
taunted, Orcazo, huge Shen play there. He has been able to find those taunts time and time again. Voidcraft as well. And the last line of defense is going to be the Diana, the Fiddlesticks, the Jinx. Although they do have decent wave clear, they cannot
But the
contest for
Elder.
this Elder. Yeah, the Elder is going to be the focal point right now. Which team is able to get it?
No, I no longer know. I think that it should be, and it should be uncontested for the side of TNT. But we have seen crazy things happening in this game, so maybe they are able to pull it off. It's 8 seconds, so there shouldn't be that much of a chance. They have a lot of damage, and they have the Nunu double smite pretty much to be able to secure this.
Oh, we'll see what they end up
Here comes C1
doing
though.
here. Yeah, it looks like they're not going to go without a fight. Voidcraft might be looking for the 50-50 smite fight. CC. Baron Pit, the Elder Pit is controlled by TNT with the ultimate here channeling through Opera Show back in early attack. Great attack there by Yolder. Finds it picking out Elder Dragon secure.
They got the
This
Elder,
is
that's
not
it.
looking good for Team 1. They have to really get away there. Run for the door. Make a bolt for the door there, Voidcraft. Can you make it? Run, Forrest, run. He's the last one standing for his team, Team 1. They did have a good first game, but the second one, out of nowhere, an explosive start for TNT, and no pun intended there.
Yeah, they certainly played like their name implied, getting so explosive in the early game. They destroyed the early stage of the game, even though T1 was able to get a really good team fight in the mid game. They were always kind of behind the play and gave way too many avenues for TNT to keep themselves being super far ahead. And that meant that TNT didn't stop weren't stopping the pedal in the game, and were always being able to take the fights and win, like we're seeing right now.
There it is.
Yeah, he's dead.
There it is. The final
that's the
kills coming through. Padding out the KDA. There it is. The purpose of giving your all on the Rift is to attain the greatest heights within your own limits. And we see TNT. They did not give up. Second game, they look stronger than the first. So I'm pretty impressed as to what the third game will bring.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Orcaso has been so consistently the better player for the side of TNT. And I even though Yolder has been playing really well, mid lane wise, I don't think that there's been much of a difference between Yolder and Rosemary. I think that both have been playing really well. Just Rosemary obviously has been playing much more harder matchups because it was Vladimir and Diana, if I'm not wrong. So it can be harder against certain mid laners, but Orcaso alone, without any help, has been able to get an advantage in the top lane, and this game he was able to use it all over the map. And I think that was the much more important adaptation in this game for the side of TNT, and that was what helped them be able to take this game.
Yeah, I mean, with a logo like theirs, I mean, how can you not win, right? Like, how can you have a logo like that and then not win? You know, that's just I want to see more logos like that in the future, man. It's just such a fresh logo to see. Yeah.
Paint made logos.
Paint simulator. And with that said, though, let's take a look at the graphs here. Can we take a look at the graphs for the teams here? Let's take a look at the damage. As you could see on the board, Shen as being the tank that's so much damage. You could see Yoler again topping the charts. Jin following up. This time around, the bot lane saw a little bit better performance on the side of TNT.
Yeah, I feel like it had to do with the fact that Pancakes was able to mainly camp the lane, because I don't remember a play apart from the first kills that the Jinx Rakan got that the Nunu wasn't there. So I think that helped a lot for the Jin and the Nami to be able to take the lane. But certainly they I feel like they also played a little bit better because they weren't obligated to actually carry the game and be a really important force. That made their impact much more useful in this game, I feel like.
Yeah, I think this is going to be kind of whoever gets, this is kind of like survival mode, right? Fight or flight at this point. If you're able to adapt, maybe you'll be able to take the third game, because it's going to be a lot of things to look out for. In terms of the bans, right, alone, Team 1, they have to come up with decent bans. Not only they have to ban Victor, now they have to watch out for that Syndra ban. Of course, I would say the Shen could be a problem ban too, so let's see who they prioritize on the ban list.
I think just pick it, take the Shen away, you can use it, and I think that for the way that they are playing, I think putting outrage on a tank like the Shen that doesn't require to do that much, like with the Bolivar. Even if
Mhm.
you lose, as long as you get the CC and the tanky stats to be able to survive long enough, you're
Yeah.
getting enough value. And I think that's what outrage the side of T1 should bank on for outrage.
Indeed, as we approach now to the last game of the series, it is my pleasure to announce that we're going to go on a short break, but it's going to be a really good one as we're going to come back. Going to see the third game between TNT versus Team One. As always, stick around till we're back. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What a what an interesting series. I gotta say, I was kind
Yeah.
of speechless because not only that TNT managed to bring themselves back, now they're looking at a really good kind of momentum swing, right? Kind of that tempo that's going for them. Yoler putting up a huge amount of damage in terms of kind of carrying through the mid lane. Of course, T1 now have a problem. Can they replicate what they did in the
Yeah.
first game? Because they're on playing on the blue side. But before we dive right back into the game, my name is Proof, and I'm joined here on the casting desk with TDS. And obviously, how we're feeling right now after that second game.
I'm really confused or perplexed because I feel like even though TNT showcased something really good, I feel
Mm.
like if T1 replicates what they had in the first game with better adaptations, obviously, they can still take the series. Like it feels like this feels like a series that either team can take if they are going into the game really comfortably with champions that they can play and can execute on. Like in the second game, we had Orcaso with the same lead or the same impact that he had in the first game, but a much better champion to impact the whole map and help his team be able to play around. And on the first game, we had T1 with or Outrage being able to impact the map much more better. Even though he lost the game, he had a tank that he could survive longer on, and that meant that he could play the game much more effectively. So I feel like if they are able to replicate those things from the games that they won, they are probably looking into a really good spot going into the last game.
Yeah, the last game is kind of like you got to treat it as a best of one, right? Because it's not really a best of three anymore. You don't have room to make errors. You don't have room to kind of make risky plays. So I'm assuming both teams will try to play kind of back their play safe. Of course, this is going to be not, it's going to be whether who kind of prioritizes bot lane, who prioritizes top lane, because we saw how much Nunu was prioritizing that bot lane. She was
Yeah.
literally camping the entire time there, and maybe that's what brought it back home for them because they're noticing that the Achilles heel for the first game was their bot lane. So TNT decided, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna throw Nunu at you time and time again and let you deal with that. Let you handle that. So with that said, as we're getting ready for the pro draft, what kind of things do you expect that T1 should do on the blue side to take the win, and what kind of things should TNT do on the red side?
I would like, honestly, to have much more priority for the bottom lane from the side of T1. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
just put a tank on the top lane or something that can survive by his own without having to worry if he dies once or twice. It's completely fine. And then put something that can give priority for the bottom lane because I feel like Jinx and Rakan performed really well in the bottom lane. They won the 2v2 a couple of times. They were able to be really well in that lane, and it wasn't until the Nunu began camping the lane that it turned bad for them. So I feel like if you have a jungler that can put much more priority there, not the Fiddlesticks that has to wait till level 6, and even then he can lose sometimes if he's not ready to engage. Then it could be way better for T1. And it doesn't mean that you won't have a jungler that can engage or force a fight. You can go for things like a sack that can be effective early on, but also have impact in the team fights. Or something like a Sejuani as well, even though she's a little bit weaker than the sack. I feel like there's still even the potential Diana in the jungle or
Oh yeah.
Xinjiao in the jungle. I think that those are still viable champions, but something that can fight with the amount of pressure that we saw from TNT going into the bot lane.
Yeah, the pressure, I think you just exactly nailed it right there in the bot lane. If we could see TNT on the same good bot lane, we'll see if they're able to get away with the win here on the best of three series. Of course,
Yeah.
without further wait, ladies and gentlemen, here we are going to dive right into the draft as we have picks and bans coming through. Already, Cassiopeia off the map. We got Ash ban, a Mumu ban, this is an interesting. It's gonna be an interesting series because I don't even know why they banned a Mumu here. Team one, they don't want a Mumu back, probably because they scouted their OP.GGs.
Yeah.
You see the Ash ban as well. What do you think T1 are gonna prioritize here in terms of picking first on the blue side?
Maybe they take away the Nunu if they
Mm-hmm.
think that it's a champion that has been bothersome. If they don't ban it, like, I think that that could be a potential that we saw from T1, but I won't expect it. Yeah, they just ban it. I think that that's okay. And instead, maybe they can go for the Victor and take it away from TNT. To since the Victor was really impactful during the first game and was the last ban from the last game, so maybe the Victor is something that we see here. But based on previously, they went for the Fiddlesticks both times, first pick. So, okay, Thresh, this is a new adaptation, and I like if they go for that. But if not, I'm not really sure. I think something strong in the bot lane could be nice, and if not, something strong, something safe in the top lane or in the mid lane could be good as well.
Yeah, the Yumi ban is definitely interesting here on the side of TNT and the Thresh hover on the side of T1. This is very, very out of kind of. This is not what you see on normal day to day in terms of the third game. Thresh first pick.
Yep.
Supports are rarely first picks in in series, so it's gonna be interesting. I want to know what they have in plan, and in terms of their arsenal, they got Jin on the other
Team
side.
Nami.
Ideally, you
Yep.
want Jin and Nami again. TNT, they're kind of like if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I think they can take T1 can take the Jinx once again. I feel like this lane can still be good
Mhm.
against the Jin Nami, and you have even better potential to save the Jinx because of the Thresh Lantern and things like that. So I think that lane wise, I think that you can just go for the Jinx like in the previous game and try and play the game through that. While I'm still trying to see what they want to go for in ADK in junglers, but okay, the Saya is not a bad option either. The press hard to survive, the get away from that ticket that you get with the Saya makes sense. And it's also a champion that if you're able to get a hook down with the Thresh, you have execute potential with the Saya. So it's not a completely bad, and I feel like it can work with in the bottom lane. But Karthus
Oh,
mixing it up
okay.
from the
There's a
fiddlesticks, but
pentakill cards. Hello.
uh,
No, I did. I
they
did. I have it.
paying homage to the newly released album, it seems. But I'm
Yeah.
not really convinced about the Cardius yet, though. I think
Yeah.
Cardius can be played in the jungle and in the
Mhm.
mid lane, but you picking it at this point, you're leaving yourself up to so many counter potentials.
Yeah. So many counter potentials. Honestly,
Oh, the
they
sack.
they probably realized that they don't have enough AP damage last game for T1. They were like, well, maybe what if we have our jungler play Karthus? He'll care in terms of AP. But he got the answer from TNT that didn't take that long for the Zac to show up. I do
And I
like
think
what
this is
they're
a
going
great
for
pick.
here. It is a great pick in terms of tankiness and engages. You see the Tom Kench being banned on side of TNT. Nunu is not be able to pick. So I guess besides Nunu, Zac is a good option, right?
Yeah, I think Saki is one of the junglers that I feel like is most undervalued currently in the meta. Even though he's such a good jungler to try and engage and get so much
Mhm.
value. And he's also one of the junglers that warp the game around him, which means that you have to play much more carefully around the sack than you have to do around other junglers because of his weird ganking potential. So overall, I think that Zac getting picked here is really good. You have the support, the long range distance support from the Jhin, and now with Oriana, you have a really good combo with the Shockwave Zac diving in. So overall, TNT, I think that staying close to what they have in the previous game with a strong mid lane that can win the matchup with a jungler that can gank a lot as well and provide support from the team. So staying true to the theme that they seem to like to play.
You know what, Carlos? I'm gonna be honest with you right now out of the gate. Listen, Oriana,
Mhm.
sign me up for that. Okay, sign me
I
up for
agree.
that mid lane, and now LeBlanc is the answer for T1. I think
Okay.
TNT. We've seen TNT play and through the mid laner Yoler, who's been able to carry on the Victor, on the Syndra, and now on the Oriana. Do you see a pattern here? The way he plays, the type of
Yep.
champions he plays, he's trying to put on a performance here, and I think this is the team comp where he is able to shine, especially the LeBlanc counter pick. I
Ooh.
have to say, Oriana being blinded here maybe was a little bit of a mistake, but nonetheless, shouldn't expect anything too different.
Oriana is one of the better mid laners to try and blind, so I'm not completely against it. I feel like the LeBlanc matchup with Oriana can go either way. It's a really skill matchup. You have power with Oriana, but if you get hit with the chain from the LeBlanc, you can get killed. So it's something that you have to be careful about. But it can be a really interesting matchup to go for. I don't expect this to be at yeah. I wasn't expecting it to be a Rakan. It's the Akali against the Kled, and it was a Kled last pick by T1. So going for for a really engaged heavy with the Kled to try and get on top of the champions from the side of TNT. And realistically, with the sack, there's just one tank, which means that
Mhm.
if you get on top of the Jhin, of the Nami, or of the Oriana, or of the Akali, you can kill them pretty easily with the champions that you have. But TNT, even though I'm not fully in favor of the Akali because it's
Mhm.
not the what we saw in the previous game with the Shen, she can, even though she can impact the rest of the map, she does have tough times trying to impede other places, and if she falls behind, she can be really ineffective, unlike the Shen with the Stand United. But I feel like this is much better than the Fiora because Akali has much more of a team fight impact. So overall, I think that
Yeah.
TNT still trying to play through the team fight, but with their squishy lineup, they have to be much more careful about how they play team.
Yeah, I think they have to be kind of careful and kind of taking risks here and there. It's kind of like finding that sweet spot where they're able to snowball in the early game. TNT, they have a nice comp in terms of the Akali being the assassin who could dive to the back line against that
Yeah.
Zaya. You got Karthus, a very good kind of an AP carry that you needed last game and you didn't have it. Now you do. So team one, they're probably wondering maybe we could make it happen here through this Karthus wild pick. We never anticipated this to come through here, as well as the Khaled. These are very kind of off meta picks in terms of like their OP.GGs. We didn't have, I didn't spend that much time looking into it, but certainly from first game to second to third, this is kind of like night and day in terms of team draft.
Yeah, there's been a certain jump between champions that have been playing the series. I think that apart from the Nunu and the Fiddlesticks that we saw a lot, finally seeing variations in the jungle is really nice. And in the mid lane, I think this is the first. Wait, I need to confirm something. Outreach is playing mid lane, it seems, and Rosemary is playing top lane.
Oh, so kind of like a flex role happening here. So
Yeah,
Rosemary is going to be piloting Colette, I'm assuming, right?
yeah, it seems
Or
like.
do you think LeBlanc? Yeah, LeBlanc. There's no way he's going to be playing top LeBlanc against a. I don't know. This is all
I don't
over
think
the
it's a
place,
bad
kind
matchup.
of.
To get me
Huh?
wrong. I don't think
Yeah.
LeBlanc against Akali is a bad matchup, so you can probably look for it. But
Mhm.
I'm just curious about this because if it's Outreach playing mid lane and Rosemary playing top lane, or it's just a mistaken client and they didn't
Mhm.
position themselves correctly. Like
In the
I'm
LCS
still
order.
really interested. Yeah, if they are
Yeah.
they are in NCS order, but maybe they just didn't trade or something like that. But if it's going to stay like this, and Outreach plays mid lane and Rosemary plays top lane, then we have to change how we think about how the lanes will be played because it's different players. I think that Rosemary, mid lane wise, he played really well the lanes. He was just playing
Mhm.
losing matchups, which obviously kind of make it harder for him to be able to execute. So I think against Orcaso, Rosemary can put a good enough fight, and if he's able to get to utilize the Eclair effectively, make it maybe he can carry through the top lane instead. Outreach on the other side, he certainly underperformed in my opinion against Orcaso. So against Yoldler, that was the other main point of power from the side of TNT. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull it off, but maybe he does. Maybe he can play this rank to such an exceptional level that he can carry the game through there.
So you're saying Outrage versus Yodeler,
Yeah.
and we're talking about Rosemary versus Orcazo. Orcazo on the Akali in the top lane. I mean, what's not to say that they're going to change this themselves on the side of Team Tantrums, right? If they were like, okay, you guys are going to play a little that flex role with us, what's stopping us from kind of doing that on our end, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, right, as we kind of wait for people to take charge in the Summoner's Rift. We got 2 minutes until we start. So, what are your final predictions? And in chat, those who are in chat, let's see. I'm actually going to read them right now. Who do you guys think is going to win based off of the draft? Let's see. Let's see who you guys vote
I
for.
don't really know.
Anytime you cast your vote, I'm going to allow TDS to have his final predictions here going into it.
I'm trying to think based on what we saw in the previous games, and I feel like TNT has been closer to achieve victory than T1. Even in the first game, it felt like TNT had the game in their grasp, and they just couldn't pull it off. In the second game, they had most of the game most of the time in their grasp, and even when it seemed bad, they still had the opportunity to take it off. So maybe TNT will be able to pull it off, but I also have betted against each of the winner team in both of the previous games. So whoever I bet on probably end up losing, but I'm going to go for TNT. I think that they have a good enough composition. They have good things from the previous game, and they have good adaptations as well from the Nunu going to the sack. So I think that they should be able to pull it off.
Well, you know what? I want to see a good game of League of Legends, and I believe that we already got that so far. It's been a back and forth tug of war, but ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment of truth, and we're going to have Team 1 versus TNT in just a short moment. With that said, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. welcome back. We are kind of proud to say that this game has been interesting. The whole series has been a back and forth, and
Yep.
this might be the focal point, kind of the finish line. Both teams really need to show up where it matters, and this is it. So with that, before diving into the game, quick introductions. My name is Proof, and I'm here joined with TDS. And TDS, honestly, man, we've been kind of like on a roller coaster, right? We're kind of
Yep.
rooting for teams to win, kind of going for like, this is going to be a bloody fight. It's going to be 20 kill a game, 30 kill a game. But honestly, it's just been really how much of a dynamic we have between Pancake and Yodeler, and of course the bot lane duo 2v2. And overall, though, what do you want to talk about here for the third game that's the most important?
I think the main thing that I want to talk about in this particular game, and something that encapsulates the series as a whole, is the fact that the laning phase has been so crucial for both teams. Like, it's either super rewarding or super damning for the teams that win it and lose it. And even though at the start it seems like it's gonna be favorable for one, it ends up going in the other direction in the next 5 minutes. So we need to see what does end up happening in the first 10 minutes of the game, who goes out of the lane with what advantage, and which team has the composition to play around that advantage as well. I think that TNT, how they played in the previous game, and how I expect Orcaso to be able to pull off because he has Ignite, then I think that TNT should have a really good advantage in the first 10 minutes of the game, but we will need to wait and see, especially with the lanes changed.
Yeah, the lanes. It just looked like LeBlanc is not going to go top. Not going to happen today.
Yeah.
There'll be Outrage here in the mid lane, who is the top laner, but is playing LeBlanc. So he usually top lanes. He decided to go, no, you know what? I'll go against the Orianna if you're willing to go top side. Rosemary yourself. So the Kled is still being played towards the top, and Yodeler, of course, on the Orianna. We kind of expect him to show up here as well. Speaking of showing up with great death sentence landing, this could be first blood of a flash is used back to safety. Goes Machine. He is actually very low on HP, so I wouldn't be surprised the bot lane starts playing a little more safe on the side of TNT.
Yeah, especially after burning those two summoners out. I'm really surprised that the Saya didn't start E, just to get the execute damage and be able to burst out the Nami. But here comes Zac. They don't know about this.
Zac goes all out. Can we see what's happening in the bot lane? Oops, something's happening. It looks like a Kali
Wait,
is
it was
here
even
as
a
well.
teleport.
Yeah, she did burn the teleport for this as well.
Oh,
and
no.
it's a bad play for TNT. I mean, they were a little bit optimistic there, but they did not find the target. You see how well Team 1 played around that gank.
Okay, so committing the Zac there to go for the gank, it's not a bad play if you're able to burst summoners, and they did. But never commit the teleport unless it's a really huge fight, because now the Akali is pretty much, it's not dead, but it's in a situation that it's horrendous for her, because not only, look at the wave. If we can pan onto the top lane, look at the wave. It's pushing in the favor. It's pushing in the favor of the Kled, but he can just leave it. Okay, he just pushed it. If he can leave it at that spot, the Carters can come in. Akali has no flash. She dies. Lane is over.
Yeah, lane. I think for now, Akali is whether or not she's willing to kind of wait, sit idly by, and watching Rosemary use the TP play to go maybe bot lane, maybe go mid for those big fights. Right as now, you see Orcaso.
Rosemary
does hit the E's. Shuriken does land, and for the trades, so far so good. Orcaso still a level behind. Still nothing yet to be had on the
level
map.
CS behind.
Oh, wait a minute. The Outrage here is kind of fencing himself, very much dancing on the edge there. Luckily, though, Yodeler did not have enough mana to close out that kill. You see,
But he has teleport.
Yeah, Yodeler does have TP, so probably going to go back, recall, and then get back into the lane for that surprise attack. You see that Zac still towards topside, possibly shadowing Orcaso here.
Okay, so the game is slowed down. I was expecting that the Zac comes back in, but now in the top side with against the Kled that does have flash, maybe they can try and pull out something, but the Kled was able to pull the wave, so they push the wave, so it doesn't turn out into anything. And
looking at the early game being so quiet, realistically, because there's not much kills going on or nothing much being lost on either side, the Carthus is in a really good spot. He's farming comfortably. He's 34 CS. He 36. He's going to get his second part of the clear. And oh wait,
Orcazo in the Shroud gonna save himself some HP on that trade. Khaled seems to be the kind of, I don't know, getting away with a lot there on the trades, as Rosemary still has the TP available if duty calls for maybe a bot lane skirmish, maybe around the objectives. As you see, Ocean is now on the map as well. Objective is going to be whoever has a priority to take it.
Also, important thing, and I'm going to pen this over quickly to see the card is, in those sub-lane traits that we have seen now, if the Kali isn't there, but she's really, really low, now the Carthus begin actually mattering, because with his ultimate, he can get the kill that you don't get with a Kled. So Orcazo has to be even more careful about how he played this, because even a trade that seemed like survivable can end up being horribly bad.
Yeah, because Carthus can just ult at any given moment. And you see about, speaking about Carthus, he's fancying himself a gank here in the 3v2 as Void Crab's going to go all out. He does,
the Qs.
And is finding a lot of those Qs. And Nami barely getting away. Here comes the ultimate, and baby, that is enough for the first blood.
And a second one?
Khaled on top of that, making the cherry on top of that 2-0. As Team 1, they're getting collapsed on over the ball, and you see Slanka getting away, the flash all in. Too Legit finds himself a trade, but look what's happening. Outrage from the back as well. The second one for him. Too Legit is putting up a show for us, but he's going to go down. Outrage is going to get paid. 3-3. So close.
Yeah, and an early game that started with 0 kills, I think 30 seconds ago, now has 3 kills each for each side, and it's really well played by both sides. I really like the gank from the Carthus, hitting every Q. I think that if you don't have to blow up the ultimate there like that, maybe you can end up in a better positioning, not over-committing the Saya and the Thresh to a bad position, but the counter engage from the side of TNT was really good. The Orianna moving before the LeBlanc, being able to help and even buy enough time so that the sack passive wasn't popped before, and oh wait, LeBlanc now.
We got ourselves a fight here, possibly though no commitment on either side. You see Rosemary here, one of the top side for the TP player. Rakaza in a lot of trouble. Shroud used to get away, does not have the flash available. As Akali has TP and Ignite, literally relying on that shuriken so much to get away from possible death, right? So does not have the flash for kind of outplay potential, has to really play safe in the top side. As you see, Zach is behind on camps. I feel like he's struggling here a little bit as he's making his way towards the bot side.
I think that was something that was bound to happen just because, he's dead.
Oh no, the face check and a half is not really good for the Jhin as he goes down. Zaya's gonna get paid as well as Orianna. The solo ball on the mid lane. Yodeler making it happen. 4-4. This is so far, so close, man. A nail biter of a game. Still, you see the solo lead. I mean, the gold lead is still in the favor kind of for Team 1, but TNT, they're kind of trailing behind.
Yeah, and now they want to go for this Drake, but Jhin is not here yet, and you don't have teleport with the Akali. Luckily, there's no teleport either for the Claire, but they shouldn't be able to force this fight, especially with no AD carry here. And it seems that they don't want to fight this, Oh, wait, maybe?
The Zac is maybe fancying himself a smite, steal pancakes.
Nah, he realized it.
He realizes it's not worth dying for, right? As the early Drake, it's going to be the Ocean secured now for Team 1. As they also look at this top side shenanigans coming from Rosemary under the turret. He's going to dive Orcazo, and that's going to be a clean solo kill. Flash away. That's a solo bolo. 5-4. Rosemary trailblazing ahead now in the top lane matchup.
Yeah, but to me, the problem with the top lane is not only the fact that Rosemary has been able to play it better than what happened in the previous 2 games, but because of the early teleport from the Akali, she's way too far behind, not only in gold, but in experience, which means that Claire with the experience lead is able to get the better traits and is able to force much more. I think the lane goes way different if the Akali doesn't go for that early teleport that just cost her the entire lane.
They're paying for blood here on the top side as Akali goes out with her ultimate. She does get the execution, but she instantly gets traded. Rosemary, 3-1. The shutdown does go to Orcazo. some gold in his pockets, right? And for the time being, they are still behind. They need to make plays happen. I think they need to rely on Oriana here. What are your thoughts going into it?
It's again going on Yolder to be able to pull something off. Like in the first game, like in the second game, I feel like if Yolder is in a really good spot, then maybe they can pull off. And he's playing well. He's 2 levels ahead of the LeBlanc, and he's able to put pressure on the LeBlanc as well. It's really important because LeBlanc with Ignite cannot impact the map as effectively as the LeBlanc can do. Oh wait.
It looks like
the
SMS is gonna connect with that, followed up the ultimate by Zaya. This is not looking good for Team 1, or rather TNT, as they are going behind, barely surviving there, but go scot-free. There it is. Oh, huge shockwave on Outrage. Yolder makes it happen. The solo 1v2. I mean, Karthus were around there, but it looked like he was a statue. Yolder was like, okay, hello, hi, I can't help you. I'm still going to get the kill. 6-6. Wow, Yolder is the showmaker, not going to lie. If anybody deserves the MVP on the side of TNT, I think I'm going to go vote for Yolder here.
I second that. Not only am I a huge fan of mid laners because I am a mid laner myself, but the fact that he's playing so well this series, it's not only this game, it's something that we have seen consistently in the previous 2 games, and he has been able to execute really well. Just shows how good he has been playing this series. And if the side of TNT are going to be able to get this win, it's going to be on the back of Yolder.
Yeah, he's making a lot of moves here. Without the flash, though, he does need to play it safe, as he does still have a TP for a possible bot lane play. Rosemary here over the top side, just clearing up some wards. You see that the pressure is still in the favor of Team 1 in terms of having that top side pressure.
Yeah.
Karthus, however, we haven't seen him pretty much gank that lane because it's perma pushed. As Colette is pushing that bot lane, we got it happening again. Deja with the ultimate, use flash over. That ultimate is going to go machine back to safety. Too Legit is still doing some damage, though. Without having the flash, they're still going to play it safe. No play to be had after that.
Yeah, and this is a difference from the... Wait.
Oh, another hook. This could be the actual death sentence here, served up on a platter. As gonna ultimate. There it is, channeled through with the second kill, sorry, for Zaya. He's gonna be happy about that. Pancakes does ult his way out of that one for the movement speed, but here I like that sound effect there, Carlos. Here comes Colette, but does not find the target. Still.
Yeah. You like the sound effect, but it didn't work for anything. Rosemary doesn't get the kill, so sadly, maybe I'm just the salt for Rosemary. But they're trying to put pressure on this top lane, and it's not being that effective. Oh wait, Orcaso? He's dead?
This is deja vu for Orcaso. Without the flash, you cannot get out of that, and it is gonna be the solo bolo 4th time, or what is it? The 4th solo kill up into the top side. Rosemary is just having a field day over here.
Yeah, and now we're getting into the point where it's if Yolder is going to have a stronger back, or if the Kled, Rosemary, is going to have the stronger back. Because it's both of these members getting the solo kills, but it feels like the Kled has been able to get much more impact with those kills. Can they get this first story before the Kled, though?
Oh yeah, this is good momentum play. Possibly getting that
first.
They got it. There it is, they secured it. TNT still have some stuff going for them. Playing towards their strong side, which is the mid lane so far. Unfortunately, the top third is not going to stand longer. Not long for the world, as 6-8 is our scoreline. 13 minutes on the clock, and this game does feel pretty close there, Carlos, right?
Yeah, it feels similar to the first game if you think about it, because the top lane is not that bad it's not going that bad for the side of T1, and even though the mid lane is obviously the main shining point for TNT, the other lanes have been doing good, the jungler is doing well, and they are now committing for this play. Oh wait,
huge play coming through, ultimates used there. Thresh in the front line, great, a knockout with the Nami, but here comes the Feather.
He survived!
And the target, LeBlanc gonna get that kill. Zac unfortunately is gonna sacrificial lamb there. At that price, they're also gonna lose a Mountain Drake.
Yeah, they are able to secure this Drake. 5 members strong fighting down there, and the Akali cannot join that fight. She doesn't have teleport. She's not able to help anything happen, and that means an easy win for the side of T1. Really well fought. That could have been a really nice fight for the side of TNT if the value from the Shockwave is much higher there, but he only gets 1, and the Thresh is able to even survive. So they don't get nothing back from that apart from just a couple of farming minions for the Akali and her trying to come back.
The difference in experience is really, really important, and it's not only the Kled. We have been talking a lot about the top lane, but look at the jungle. It's level 10 to level 7 in the sack.
Oh. Level 10 to level 7 and not looking that good, right? It's just not a pretty sight to see the Zac so far behind. Although what has going for him is that combo with the shield or you know, the Orianna combo with the shockwave, and the Zac could go all out. So I think they're looking for those type of team fights. But until then, you see the early advantage heavily in the favor of Team 1 as they are pressuring everybody around the map. Their mid lane tower is gone though. They're not playing towards their mid any longer. Colette is still side lane pushing over the top. Well, I want to point out though that fight was Akali in that fight. I think Akali was already making her way toward the top. As you see, great counter for that all out.
They really want this kill.
Oh, they really want the kill, and now Pancake is gonna have to absorb all that damage, and great kiting there from Team 1 as they find the kill, and now possibly Solo Colo. Solo Colo, is that a new phrase? Solo Colo, hey. Hey, I'm coming to get you guys. But with that said though, 10-6, you know, 27k gold lead. I mean, 27k in total, and that is 3k gold lead. We're still talking about Outrage being behind in the lane. Still though, possibly getting back. You're seeing the resurgence from Outrage because he's been able to find the kind of like over the walls of the assassination, because LeBlanc could really dive the back line once you get it low enough is the name of the game, right? So Rosemary is using that pressure now against YOLO. They're under the turret. The aggro is hitting Rosemary. Gonna back off.
I don't think they get the kill. Yeah,
they don't get the kill. It's not gonna be, every day is not the lucky day for, you know, Rosemary. I don't know what the saying is, but 4-1-1 so far. Outrage is finding a little bit of help from the teammates. As you see, AP Buggy. Oh man.
Even cancels the jump. Wow.
Pancake's not having a good time. If I'm Pancakes right now, I'm probably tilted.
Yeah, I can share the sentiment, especially with how well it went with the second game. Nuno this time around has just been way worse. Oh wait, the hook. Pancake is dead. Or easy.
Oh, whoa, look at, so how close is Outrage gonna be able? No, it's not Outrage who gets the kill. It's gonna be the Karthus now. Finally,
there's no turret here.
Kill of her own. Okazo is really making it work here. Nice Orianna kill as well, putting things more in the favor in the court of TNT. So the ball is back in their side. They are behind 4K still though. What is their win con? Looking at how things are panning.
Yeah, I gotta quickly say I hate this teleport so much from Orcaso. There was not an actual threat from this turret, and even if there was, it's fine if you lose that turret because you still are going to get access to minions. But without that teleport now, the Akali no longer has an opportunity to go help a fight unless she gives up waves, and that's not something that you want to do with Akali. But anyway, looking into the play in the mid lane, really well played by the side of TNT, getting back an advantage, especially with how far behind they are, trying to get something back, and it's once again on the back of Yodeler, but Orcaso and Pancakes as well, trying to do something there to be able to pull it off, and they are trying to keep the game going. Oh, that is a lot of damage.
Also, I want to point out that the last pick for TNT was the Akali, so they really looked at the entire lineup of T1 and they could have countered the Kled. Instead, they decided to pick the Akali. So my point and question here is, why go Akali into Kled knowing it's going to be a bad line? But Dessen is over the wall. Bring in the Showmaker there. Outrage finally steamrolling his way 3-3-1. Compared to the Orianna, you know, still pretty much vocal on the map. Not quite like the last game.
Yeah, the problem is that because of... Oh, wait. Machine's dead, yeah.
Machine.
Or is he actually?
Actually, look at the moves. Machine with the fancy feet flashes out of the range of the Kled, but the Karth is all gonna put a dead stop to that. Back to the fountain she goes. Nami with the moves, but it wasn't quick enough, or you can't avoid that, right? You can't avoid the Karthus ultimate, and that's what we were saying here. The only thing Team 1 needs to do is just get them low enough so that Karthus could just execute them, essentially.
Yeah. He doesn't need to do much than press R when they are really low, and they can win fights like that. The Drake is sponges now, which means that this is another Drake that they are getting. This Infernal Soul Point, by the way. Karthus already was killing targets with his ultimate alone. Now with Infernal Soul, it's going to be much easier to secure. Everything is going really good for the side of T1. And TNT doesn't really have a lot of answers. And we were talking about how Outrage was able to impact much more the map in comparison to the Oriana. And the problem with that is the fact that Outrage has the opportunity to leave and move around the map because the rest of the teams can answer. But realistically, from TNT, there's no member that can answer. Jodler is the only one that can protect the lanes effectively because he has the wave clear on the Oriana, and he also has the levels and the damage to be able to pull it off. Jhin is a really easy sitting duck to kill if he's alone, like we saw in the bottom lane. On top side, Orcaso is really weak right now. He's 110 CS to 114 to 163 from the clef.
Yeah,
he doesn't have any strong points. So it's much harder for Jolder to try and impact.
That was my point again, you know, kind of like handicapping themselves in terms, right, in lane terms, because they decided to pick the Akali into the Kled, knowing the Kled damn well was going to go top, right? But my question here is, in terms of like what we're seeing gameplay, TNT time again, they're getting choked out of their own jungle. Zach doesn't have a lot of resources going for him, as well as he. Look at the CS difference between the junglers alone.
We're
should tell you
close to a flame horizon in the jungle.
Oh my god, yeah. This is... I feel bad for TNT. I think hand in hand goes kind of like the blue side buff, I guess, for Team 1. They're playing immaculate. Playing immaculately on this side. Compared to the red side, they have a stronger blue, in my opinion. They have a stronger blue side compared to the red.
Yeah, it feels like that. But I also got to say that I feel like this game went way out of control, or it was so bad for TNT from the teleport from the Kali. I feel like if that doesn't happen, the game can be much better from the side of TNT. But with how bad that teleport was and how... Oh, wait, Orcasi stayed again.
Chain,
yeah, no flash.
Again, getting caught out. The weak link here over the top side does not have the flash. He's going to bite the quickly as
legit is
on
not
the map. Too legit as well. Let's watch out. Has Gale Force, did not have to utilize it because the Death Sentence did go wide. And talking about maybe a possibility, maybe this is an uphill battle, we know that for sure for TNT, but maybe they could itch back in it if they get these shutdowns, because look at the shutdown galore on everybody's heads on the side of Team 1. You got a shutdown on the Xayah, shutdown on the LeBlanc. Everybody, if you get a kill, it's going to be field day, right? You
get a shutdown, you get a shutdown, everybody gets a shutdown pretty much, right?
Exactly. Right, and then maybe getting the Baron off the shutdowns would be possibly the play that I could see TNT doing, but besides that, look at how they're getting suffocated out of their own jungle. You see the vision here, AP Buggy clearing up some wards, putting wards of his own, and just making it harder for TNT to get back.
Yeah, and I do agree that there's a chance for them to be able to come back, but it just feels like it's really hard because this time around T1 has a really good late game composition as well. Like if you think about it, Karthus, Xayah become really good late game threats, and when you compare them to their counterparts, the Xayah is better than the Jhin late game. It's way more consistent damage, and Jhin, yes, he can burst out champions, but the Xayah can do a really good job as well. On the junglers, so wait, Outrage.
No, that's a lucky Death Sentence, but Orcaso must be really tilted right now. How can you get away from the second Death Sentence right to the face? Oh my goodness, 2 and 6 Akali is probably shaking her head like, what the heck is happening, man? I have no control on the map. Thresh has been roaming pretty much everywhere. Has been kind of the focal point where you watch for the support to roam. A Buggy has been kind of like the MVP in that category. First it was Blitzcrank, and now it's the other Hook Master, which is going to be
when he's able to move around, I agree with you. He has been able to impact the rest of the places and has been really effective doing that. I feel like in this game, if we go by order of impact, I feel like it has to be Rosemary and AP Buggy then.
Oh my goodness, AP Buggy. Talk about like impact as a support player. You know, Vision score 46. Has been clearing a lot of that wars bot side and top side alike. You see Pancakes here is behind, looking for a maybe possible linkage. This could be the way to go. They need to find the kills here, and this is moment to fight. They're fighting against time as the Karthus ultimate is channeling through, barely surviving their machine in the back. Flashes used. Great rune. Here comes Opera. Is he able to hit the bullets? It's not really hitting the target. You see Pancakes on the front line. Void is in trouble. He's gonna bite the dust. There it is.
Wait, but Jolder is dead.
Yoler is overextending there a little bit in enemy territory. Gonna say goodbye. Pancake here, maybe turning things around. Colette is gonna find the kill, as it is Slanka as well. Gonna find that kill. Oh my goodness. It is almost an ace. For
and it's a Drake.
Yeah, it's a free Drake. A soul. It's the
It's
whole
Soul
soul.
Drake.
The game
Yeah.
possibly 19-9. There's nowhere near like TNT. They have nothing going for them in terms of turret count. They're behind on that. In terms of objectives, they're behind on that. Kills and everything, man.
This doesn't
Feels
feel
bad.
like TNT can maybe come back. Like, there's still a chance. Don't get me wrong. There's always chance to be able to pull it off, especially in competitive play. But that fight, it looked like such a positive fight for the side of TNT, especially because it was just two members. Yes, they have flash, and yes, they have escape abilities. But if you're able to get on top of them and kill them, you have better positioning for the Drake. I think that was their Hail Mary play to come back into the game much more effectively. And even though it looked like they maybe were able to go to do something, killing the characters and maybe pull off the fight, Oriana goes way too far forward, and Yolder, a player that we have praised a lot in this series, ends up overcommitting and giving away a kill. Oh, Nami didn't die. Okay, yeah, but that secures them the Baron, and they just seem to be poised to be able to take the game with this. It's Soul and Baron buff for the side of T1, and now we will need to see if they push the issue here or wait till the next Elder Bat. They are in a really good position to be able to take this.
I mean, this is just very much kind of like what we saw in the first game, right? What we saw in the first game
Yep.
was that top lane was weak on the side of TNT, bot lane was not having a good day, and then the only one doing anything at that point was Yoler, and you could see they can't just have that be their win con. They need to do something more than that. They just need to throw more things at the sink, see if it works. Because having Orcaso time and time again over the top side, like I said, I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but we've got new viewers here as I'm informed that we got a raid. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, as this is going to be a nail biter. Bro, every time I say nail biter, my southern accent comes through. I'm not even from the south. Like, I don't know why it is like that word, but it is what it is. We got 9-19. TNT, they're kind of, this is a fight against time. Can they do it? On the flip side, though, they do have kind of like a clock ticking in their favor, as there's still the Baron hasn't taken much of their base yet.
Yeah, there's still chance for them, and if they are able to take a fight, there's a lot of standing gold that they can secure and be able to turn back. But with being an over 10k gold lead already for the side of T1, and the fact that this brand buff can just be so good to secure turrets, it's going to be hard. But this situation, it's a 4b, it's a 3b5 because there's two members on bot side. If they are able to force a fight here and win it, maybe they can pull it off. But I really like this move by T1 to force the movement around the map. Oh, that is a lot of damage.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going for here. They have a little bit of a split comp, trying to take the mid lane inhibitor tower as well as a bot lane tower. See Outrage here.
I like
is
this approach
probably-
by them.
Yeah, I think LeBlanc, you want to have LeBlanc just ready to go all out. You know, find maybe the AD carry on the other side. If Jin oversteps, it's going to be the last day he sees on the Summer's Rift, as
Yeah.
that timers are going to be long, right? It might be game, so TNT have to tread lightly here against Team 1. They're taking away both inhibitors. This might be their last chance to bring it back.
Maybe they can pull it off. This is the last chance, like you're saying. The T1 even has a top lane wave, so they can look into that. But it's so many minions, Baron buff minions. Oh wait, the hook.
Oh, here comes the death, and Yoler is the death victim to that. Falls short.
He's dead.
This is
Oh.
literally the HP bars are so low on the side of TNT. They're saying
And
their
that's it.
final goodbyes, and that's going to be a huge triple from Outrage, securing themselves the kill, and the Pigs finally closing out this series. And oh boy, has been a nail biter. Oh my goodness, you don't always win your battles, but it's good to know you fought on the side of TNT. They tried, but they didn't succeed. And TDS, any closing remarks?
Like, I feel like, and I repeated myself multiple times with this during the game, but I feel like it's just such a huge blunder that if it doesn't happen, the game could have been different. I'm talking about the teleport from Orcaso at level 3, if I'm not wrong. Like, if that doesn't happen and they play a normal laning phase and a normal late game with Orcaso having the ignite, maybe you can pull off the lane and be able to win it. And I think that it's not only the fact that Orcaso almost lost the lane because of that, but also the fact that because Orcaso was losing the lane, that meant that Pancakes couldn't do what he did in the second game. That was make a camp on the bottom lane and just keep on feeding the Jin and the Nami as much as possible. And I think that it was a domino effect. With what happened to Orcaso, it just ended up tumbling every domino until even though Yoler was doing good, he couldn't keep up anymore.
Yeah, I think maybe a tanky top side would have been the pick for them, because they did have the red side for Team the Tantrums, right? So they could have probably
Yeah.
even drafted an Ornn because I do see it available. Maybe would have been better in terms of team fighting, but hindsight is 2020. Like I said, let's take a look at the graphs. Let's see who topped the charts this time.
Carthus.
And oh
Yes.
my goodness, it's going to be that Karthus on the side of Team 1. And of course, Team 2, Kali was doing a decent amount of damage. It's going to be the Oriana, followed actually trailblazed by the Jane, who did a lot of damage as well. But it's just not enough for them, as this
Yeah.
is going to be our final conclusion here. GG's to both teams. Tantrums, I love their enthusiasm. I love their kind of cool composure to not be able to tilt on such a deficit. But yeah, Open Rampage Week 5 winners for the best of 3 series between Team 1 and Team Tantrums is going to be Team 1. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, Proof, joined here with TDS. We're going to be signing off. Thank you guys. Have a nice night. And thank you for all who contributed, and as well as Aegis Esports GG. Thank you for the raid, my friend. Have a good night, everybody. Take it easy.